Hey, how you doing, Frank? East Coast drone shots? Hey, Brenda. Dominic's coming in. All right.
Howdy.
Hey, Dominic, how's it going?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, right.
No, it's actually going to be a nice and sunny day today. Was yesterday afternoon, but I'm only on I'm on for a short period today because I've got to go and pick my brother up.
Oh,
Yeah, because that's why I couldn't get on yesterday because I had to take him there.
I got a problem with my sound again today.
Oh no.
It's coming across very fuzzy.
Hmm.
I can understand it, but it's got a lot of static in the line.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what's causing that, but is what it is, I guess.
Hmm.
It's always something, Dominic, always something.
I know. There's always something. Yep.
Talk to me.
Okay.
Uh,
Brenda asks you, how many ships did you do today?
3.
Okay.
I got 3 ships today.
Oh, good.
My sound is fuzzy and I don't know why.
Uh,
I'm gonna go over here and see if I can listen to it. And see if it's fuzzy over there too. It might be just my internet.
Mm.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mm.
I'm not that technical, you know?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Dusty.
When I click on the volume, it goes ka-ding, ka-ding,
Mm.
and it's real fuzzy.
Hello, JDS. Here's Joe. Just in time to fix the problem.
Hello. I gotta go.
Deal up the rack, Lisa Taylor, highly tailored deals right now. Japan is going here to make a deal. So
You better have a real problem.
flying here to make a deal.
So what's new?
Nothing, I'm marketing today and yesterday.
Mm.
I've got to go to school again tonight. All the freshman
Okay.
parents are coming in. So there's last night they had the coach was talking about the teams and the amount of players this year they're
Mhm.
going to have between the freshman JV team and and the what you call it team, the varsity team. He's going to be able to dress out probably 65 on each team.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't have anything. I got tea. I got a cup of improper tea. There's a microwave tea. That's all I got.
Oh.
I put them on a diet yesterday,
Mhm.
and I went on it with them. It's not good.
Mm.
I'll give you a little piece of the bacon treat, then you got to go. And they usually get like about 5 treats a day. They've got one today.
Jesus.
So you know it's not going over well.
Mm.
And then they're gonna get mad when they hear it. The bacon treat that I usually give them, I
Yeah.
usually cut it in half, right? I'm cutting it in a third now. But I picked her up the other night, realized how heavy she's getting. And she's got a heart murmur, so she got to lose this weight.
Oh.
I don't want to put her through that. She don't act like she's heavy because I'll go when I come home, I'll go on the back and she got to run full speed to me, run away and run right foot back. She runs back and forth zooming as fast as she can run, and she never gets out of breath.
Hmm.
So it's like I'm just worried about the joints.
Yeah,
What's
you
Paul?
don't, you don't want her having joint problems, that's for sure.
No. Joint problem would be like the old West. Hey, Brenda, JDS, who else was there? Dusty, Jody. I haven't seen Frank in a while. You?
Mm.
I wonder if Frank's seen him. Neither one of them went to the meetup.
Hmm.
Hey, only 367 days to the next one.
Yep.
New stickers came in today.
They
Oh,
did?
great.
These right here.
Oh, yeah.
Here you go, Dominic.
Oh, good. All right. Well,
They're the
they
Captain
came
Joe
up-
stickers.
They came out all right. So I got a stack, this stack right here, with all the stickers and different kinds are going to Johnny. It's enough for his giveaway for a year. And come September, when I start doing the orders, that they baseball card that I make,
Yeah.
I'm making a special edition one. And I'm gonna make them to give them so you can give them out also. There'll only be 24 made. Because you get them 12 in a pack, and I'm only gonna buy 2 packs. But I'll show you what they're gonna look like. Here you go. This is what they're gonna look like.
okay.
Yeah, a little different, huh?
Hmm.
And Paul not even paying attention.
Yep.
Yeah, look good.
I'm
That
gonna
looks
ask you
like a
about this
yellow,
tomorrow, give you a test.
and that looks like a yellow V-copter there.
It is. I did. I put a V-cop in it. Let me go back and show you the other ones. Hold on. Show you the that's the cord. That's not the cord. Hold on. Let me get out and find it. Yeah, I played around with it a couple of times. Hold on, it's not in here. Where's it at? I know where it's at. I moved it already. They must be mad at me. I heard a dish get knocked over just now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that's Loki. He's doing that. He knocks the dish around. Puts it all over the floor. Yeah, I went through the thing and I made one version and I said, you know what, I can make it better than that. So I made it like this. I changed it around and I put my emblem up in the corner on my pocket, above my pocket, and put the American flag. So then on the collar, I put the wings. But here you go, Dominic. Up in the top corner, I got a Nevada with the goggles.
Yeah.
I got the V-copter, and I got the Neo in the bottom
Yeah.
with the motion controller. And like I said, I put the pilot wings on, and did a couple little other things. But I think it came out pretty nice.
Hmm. Yeah, it did.
Lance is here. You're not paying attention.
Yeah, the computer over here, I'm having computer problems again. It says Windows Defender Security has disabled your computer. Please contact Microsoft Windows.
Exit out. That's a scam coming in there.
Yeah.
And you go clicking on that every time it comes on, and then you get locked. Somebody gets in your computer. That's a scam.
I see you have a Neo on there.
Mm,
Yeah, how you
good.
like that one? How you like that one, Lance?
Good. Did you
You
make
notice
this
I
a
put the
G-
V-copter too on that yellow one.
Yeah, yeah. And did you chat GPT?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
And my mouse don't do anything on the screen.
no.
Because you clicked on it.
No, I didn't. It just popped up. How do I? And I can't get out of. I can't exit or anything.
I
Turn
would
it off,
hard
turn it
boot.
on.
Hard boot.
Yep.
Push the power button and hold
Pull
it
the
10
plug out.
seconds. Hold it or unplug it. One or
Whenever
the
you
other.
see that come up and you click on something, it locks you out. You clicked on something that made you went to something that made that come up.
Input signal not found. It says.
What do you mean input signal not found?
Display going to sleep. It says.
Yeah, because you've turned it off.
Yeah, but he didn't turn. Is that the one working the screen in back of you?
That's the one over here.
So how many you got?
Why, Mark?
I got 3 computers right here.
Did you pull the plug? Did you turn it off?
Yeah, I've got it back to the startup screen. And it brings me
Okay.
right back to that frickin' thing again.
Did you got to turn it off? You don't put it to sleep. We know what it is. I've seen it before, Paul.
You seen that one?
Yeah, what you
Yes,
have
Bill.
to do is unplug it, turn it off completely.
Unplug it for 15 seconds at least. So Joe, I sent one, I made one to my daughter and sent it to her and my wife this morning.
Yeah.
And my wife said, "Where'd you get that?" And I said, "San Diego State University is putting them in their bookstore for
I
the
bet.
top 10 sophomore nursing students."
Got one question. Did you have blisters on the lip?
Yeah,
Okay.
I put blisters on her lip. See if my wife got back to me.
I think TJ was going to make one, right?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, Lord help. Does he know how to do it?
He does. I sent him directions.
Okay. Because you have to be explicit, very explicit.
You do.
Yeah, I went through it the first time and it came out right. I said, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, because you've got real detail in the drones there.
Mhm.
How did you
You
get
know,
that detail?
If
That's
you
just
see
ask
The
I
one
told
the
it-
one I did was more cartoonish.
I told it DJI type drones. You know, like that.
Yeah, I'll put
And,
DJI Mavic 3 Classic.
and I put on there, for the case, I said a waterproof type case in black and color with a handle on top. And it came up very good.
Okay.
It came out with a couple of the drones that were all kind of all mixed up, like it was missing a prop or something like this.
Yeah.
So I was able to put it in Photoshop and fix it. Take stuff out and redo drones and find another picture, put another one in. So I did some of the work.
But if you look at this one, everyone who's posting right now has the brown background like I do.
Yeah.
And yours is different. Yours is more
Mine was
yours
clear.
is more detailed. But I
I
would
think that
say
looks great.
90% of us are posting one that looks like this, with the brown.
Yeah, that's like the one I did.
Yeah, which is fine. I like it. It's okay.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Okay, stop sharing.
I also told I wanted 6 compartments on each side, on 3 on each side,
Yeah.
clear. And I said I wanted one in the middle with the main figure.
Yeah, you're just refining it.
Mm-hmm.
You start with that as a template and then you just refine it.
Because the first one I put in there, about 30 minutes later, it was still trying to do it. And I just put stuff, same thing back in there, and I changed 2 words that I noticed that might be the problem, and hit it, and popped right up in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Mark's in the waiting room. There's only one. There's no co-host.
Oh, okay.
Hang tight, Mark.
So you've got to let him in.
I'm making you
How's
guys,
everybody
Okay.
doing?
I'll make you guys co-hosts.
Yeah, well, I'm going in about 10 minutes.
Doing the best we can.
Yep.
Good. What else
How
can
you
you do?
doing? You got COVID, right?
Hey, Uncle Bill.
No, I don't believe I do. No.
Well, I hope you don't.
I thought I did, because after I heard about it, we were taking our temps, and I came up at 100 degrees, and I usually run a little cool temp, like 97.8 or 90, 98. And I thought, oh, shit. And now Michael Wright, he was at 101.4 or something.
Yeah, that's
And
bad.
Lloyd was at 99 or so. No, they're not
Hmm.
bad, but they're still obviously there's something wrong.
Elevated.
Yeah, I mean,
However,
just 101, something's doing something.
Yep.
oh yeah, but even 100. I mean, it's a low grade fever.
Yeah.
I guess it, especially for somebody who doesn't usually reach 98.6. I don't know why I'm a lizard apparently, but
Yeah,
I,
I am too.
I
usually hit around
realized
97.
afterwards we were drinking coffee.
Yeah, that makes a difference.
It sure did. Because when I was streaming that, I went on Lloyd stream. Lloyd streamed that night.
Lloyd yesterday, yeah.
And I tried it again, and I was 98.4.
Yeah.
So I don't believe I have.
So
it.
you're hanging around there.
So I'm fine.
Yeah, you do. If you in school, we used to suck on a peppermint lifesaver about 5 minutes before we went and got tested, and then we'd have a temperature.
Oh, okay. All right. They didn't have coffee there?
Okay, here's what my speaker sounds like. Talk.
We're talking.
We don't hear anything. So you need to turn it up, Paul, so we can hear what's going on.
Do you hear it, Joe?
No.
Now I can just.
It's real
very
fuzzy.
faint.
No, it's very, very low, like it's just some sound making it over your microphone.
And then it just hung up because Joe hung up. Anyway, it's real fuzzy sounding. It's like static, a lot of static. I can make it out, but it's a lot of static background. I don't understand what the hell's going on. Why it would be that way.
I never could understand what the hell's going on. That's my motto.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill, are you sure you're okay?
Am I sure I'm okay? Why do you ask?
Yeah. Well, it looks like you're. Does your face hurt?
Funny guy. Not as much as your eyeballs do right now. I get it. I understand.
You're on mute, Joe. You know that, right?
Because it's killing me.
On purpose.
Yeah, we got it.
Huh.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. You know,
Yeah, I'm sure.
I
So
mean, I
is your
might
other
have it,
computer
but
up and
if I
running now?
do, boy, it's not doing anything. You know. Got to go back to work tomorrow. Very excited. God. You know, I'm not crazy about going to work now in my old age, let alone in these conditions, you know. But life goes on. What a great weekend, huh?
Yeah.
All the
Certainly look.
lunacy. Hey, look up here. None of you were there,
Hello, Laura. Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
are you?
Yeah.
A lot of
Looked like
people
you
we
had
know
such a
did.
great
A
time.
lot of people we know couldn't make it. So, and we still ended up doing around 120, so that's good. Yeah. Probably more, 130, 140, if you want to count the kids and the you know, the guests and stuff. Yeah. I'm going to go in this vape shop. This is why I left the house today. Otherwise, I'd be late on the couch sleeping most of the day. Recuperating. I didn't do as much as I did in the past, all the dinners and going out and all that crazy stuff, just because, well, because you guys know why. But I did manage to have a couple of lunches and dinners. In fact, I insisted that Michael Wright come with us to go eat. We went to Castaways. He came over to my house afterwards because he was ready to go to the hotel down in Juno Beach, and one last night there and leave tomorrow at 5 on the airplane. So he was sticking around. He was ready to leave for the other hotel, but he came with us, just to spend some time with us. And I don't know, I may have invited the COVID into my home.
Oh no.
And I did the thermometer thing, and I don't think I had the alcohol on it long enough. So if I get ill, I probably survived it until I did that.
Yeah.
That's if Mike even has COVID. I mean, he might have something else. I don't know what the odds would be of that. You hang out with people with COVID. Why, who else? So far, all I know, Kenny and Ray.
Yeah, I heard Captain Ray and Kent. Yeah.
What's that?
I heard it was Captain Ray and Ken, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, those two for sure, because they actually went and had themselves diagnosed. We bought a couple of kits, and we were going to test ourselves, and that's when I figured out my temperature was fine. But you don't always get a temp with COVID.
With COVID, no.
But I'm all right, but I could find out. Actually, my system is on overdrive because of the operation, all the invasive shit that was stuck in me. So maybe it'll just fight it off. My immune system, I mean. I've been around a lot of people with COVID. So far, it doesn't. That's the advantage of not showering very often. Nothing wants to get next to you, including a disease. Anyway, I'm gonna go inside. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Number 250.
So you have that computer working now?
This one's working, but the audio over here has gone terrible.
Well, it's got to be your speaker. Either you unplugged it, plugged it, or it could be in the nozzle, the knob of it. Because you had speaker problems a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know what the problem was.
Yep, we never did diagnose the whole thing.
But then it started working, right?
Yep.
So it could be YouTube or Zoom.
The problem was last time that he pushed the volume down button on the bottom of the monitor.
Do you hear the static now?
Can't hear it. Your mic's not letting us. So listen to what Mark said. Say it again, Mark, because I didn't all of it.
The problem last time was you tried to get something out from underneath the monitor and you'd push the volume down button on it and turn the volume down.
So is the volume low or it's just scratchy? Hey, everybody mark the block. He's not listening. And we in a tech, we got press something he wasn't supposed to press. We got 3 blocks right real quick.
Are we doing a blockout or are we doing 4 in a row?
Diagonal, horizontal, 4 corners, anything you can get.
Okay.
And it's going to be hard to get any one of them because there's always one of them in there that's hard to say.
Yep.
It's gonna stay like that. But I don't know. Well, that's easy. You would say that? How that was for the military. Sir, Agent USA, you shouldn't understand with your mom, so she'll give it to you. Really?
Found out some good news last night, though. Something shocked the hell out of me. They're putting out a Mandeville High Skipper football site, special site. You get off of Facebook and everything. It'll be one site where everything's going to be. And Coach called me over and he said, "Let me show you the link." So what link we're talking about? He's got on there a link to me for Action Sports Shots.
Yeah.
So now they go on that site and they go directly to me. And he said, "How do you want me to put a link on? This shows all your pictures. Do you want me just to isolate the football, or what do you want?" I said, "Give me a couple of days to think about it." I said, "I may just put out another site. It's got all the information on it. They can click on it and it gives them all the updates and everything on my site. And it gives them a way to pay me. That way I don't have to fool with Stripe.
100% confidence.
So I may just wind up putting a new web page out there, you know. I've got one out there. Might just stick it on my AI Presnola page.
Mm.
You know what? I could do that. I didn't think about that. I could do AI Presnola, Mandeville football, and just have that link. So when they go straight to it, it goes directly to it and it gives them the updated week. Not just have one more thing to do. Each week, just change the code.
At hobbyharbor.com/thecardline. Use the Cardline for 10% off your first order.
I think I'm gonna do that.
Like many car shops, BSN has used their massive inventory to add braking during after hours. So that's the product you're at. Better known as Chip of Chip's Rips, goes live on the BSM Facebook page to sell a variety of brakes. He was originally a store customer who started doing brakes at home. How about we'll take it? We will take it.
Yep.
His friend
My
Mark.
page is still up there. I guess I'm gonna be redoing the page the next couple of days.
On this night, they even get to open up on the 2023-24 celebrate Victor Wembanyama season. The original was $8,000 or a 5. So
It went over there and locked up again.
What did it do?
Back to that screen. Security at a glance.
What were you doing to make it do that?
I
You will
changed speakers from one to the other. Because they're identical speakers. They're both of them are Tritonic's trying to fix this one.
Okay, well, I'm gonna jump off, so
later.
see you at another time.
Okay, Dominic.
Maybe
thanks for
later
coming
if you're still going, maybe later.
See you, Dominic.
See you, Dominic.
On that Windows Defender that popped up, is there a way to exit out?
No,
Why? Why you can't exit out?
it just locked up. It says it's locked up and you got to call an 800 number.
Don't call the 800 number. That's the
No.
one that's gonna scam you. You're gonna have to clear his cache. When I don't think you rebooted it. I don't think you turned it off and turned it on. I think you just put it to sleep.
I unplugged it.
You did unplug it?
But unplugged it from the wall.
How long did you leave it unplugged?
About 5 minutes.
Oh, I didn't think you had it that long. But I would do it again because it sounds like there's somebody put a bug in there on something, but it should not stay there. But if you click on that thing, you could even if you clicked, did you click on it before? Like the 800 number?
No, it doesn't let you click on anything. It just locks it
Just freezes it.
and says that you've been cut off, and if you want to turn it back on, you got to call this 800 number.
Yeah, that's a scam. That's all it is. Somebody trying to hijack it.
Yep.
So it's got a
Same-
bug sitting in there somewhere.
Same thing that happened the other month.
Yeah. I can't remember what we did.
We got David Easy due to connect remotely and change it all.
Yeah, that's what had to happen. Huh? But what were you doing? This is my big question. And don't get upset and don't start yelling. Before that thing popped up, what were you doing?
I wasn't doing anything.
Because it normally doesn't just pop up.
Hello, David. Wow. His computers are,
I'm sorry, I didn't see it. I wasn't watching the chat.
well, I've got it now. I've got it over here on, I unplugged it again and got it started up and and it went to my home screen and I got the home screen back. It says restore pages. Do I want to restore the pages?
If you restart, when it goes back, do Control Alt.
Okay, because I physically unplugged it, David.
You physically what?
I physically unplugged it. That's what everybody said to do. And then
Plug it back and turn it back on.
and then plugged it back in.
You plug back in, turn it on.
Okay, and I'm on and I'm back to my home page.
You do Control Alt Delete.
Oh, do what?
Control Alt Delete.
Control Alt. Where's delete?
It's right in the middle, the 6 keys.
You're going to need two hands.
Yeah, I got the control and the alt, but I can't find the delete.
Delete is
Top right corner.
side.
where are the cursors? Left, right, up, down, on the top of that.
Depending on your keyboard. It's going to be on the right side, Paul.
Because I got print, scroll, print, pause, page,
Underneath of that.
page
on the left
up,
side.
page up, page down, home, end, oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, Control Alt Delete, all three together.
Okay, and then it pops up and it says, do you want to lock it?
No, say Task Manager.
Task Manager. Okay.
So in Task Manager, where it says apps, you see the apps on the left side?
Yep.
The one that says Explore or Edge. Right click and say End Task.
It does. Here's my choices. Adware privacy, Alexa, anti-malware core service, anti-malware service executable,
Okay.
app helper, app frame host, bridge communications, com recovery, CTF loader.
No, look for Microsoft Edge.
Microsoft Edge.
On the top, you can type Edge. There's a search bar on the top.
Type the name of the publisher of the PID.
No, Microsoft Edge.
A search bar.
It's got a search bar, but okay, Microsoft
Yeah,
Edge.
just type Edge up there, and it's gonna narrow it down to Edge.
Microsoft Edge, apps number 1. Okay.
Okay, right click on it, say End Process.
Right click on it.
End Process.
End task.
End Task, that's fine. There is no more Edge. That's the only one you have.
Yeah.
Is that window closed now?
No, I can go to Edge and it brings it up again.
No. Is the error you were getting, is it gone?
Well, yeah, it's been gone ever since I unplugged it and plugged it back in again.
Okay, so go ahead and run the Explorer again. Run Edge again.
Okay.
Is it normal now?
As normal as I think it is.
Okay. All right. So you're good. You're back on.
And over on my other computer, David, all of a sudden the audio is gotten real fuzzy.
Audio got real fuzzy
Yes.
and no audio anymore.
No, I can hear it, but it's like staticky in the background.
Or do you have a bad cable or something?
I don't know.
You reboot?
Just
Sounds like a bad cable to me.
Yeah.
Bad, a speaker cable or mic cable or something.
yeah. So I should reboot the computer,
Which one?
the one that's got the static.
Well,
Try it. Yeah, why not?
Okay, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm going to make you the host.
okay.
Okay.
Make sure the cables are not torn off or something.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to reboot.
We talked about on the show. I don't understand why we're not outside. We want to build 20 million homes for Americans who see aging homes and people moving to the workforce. We want a 5% cut in every agency across the country in the federal government. We want skill working reform, with community reform, and scrap that's not raise the take taxes off the first $50,000. I'll think they will tax $2. You're not scrapping up about $200,000. Wealthy people pay a little bit more. Even like the open because he was so preoccupied with I think it's a good way to believe business and not the next big focus on issues. I just say issue on slavery. What I do need is some of the people that inform people, educate people, to make people's lives better by helping them. I like to first say I love to do it. If you want to see something,
And Laura, David, Warren.
Yeah. He's rebooting the computer. Now we got to see if he can get back on.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to ask him. He won't answer you. That's the thing.
I
I
know.
was trying to get him to say, did you reach around underneath the thing anywhere? Maybe unplug it. So, and if he changed, he said he switched the speakers, right? Did they still do the same thing? So then it could be the cable. If it's a cable, switch the cable. He may have done that all before and put another cable in there to be a bad cable. I'm glad I'm only going to be here for another 13 minutes, 20 minutes.
Where you off to tonight?
I got all the freshman parents are coming in for Mandeville football tonight. So it'll be the first time they're there talking to the coach and everybody. So I'll go in there and make an appearance and hand out about 100, actually 60 parents. So I'm gonna hand out about 60 cards tonight.
Yeah.
Got them right here. Ready to go.
And that's for next season, is it?
Yep. Hand out some money,
Uh-huh.
Because the freshman parents, it's a steal. If their son's a quarterback, a lineman that's going to play, a wide receiver that's going to play, or especially a running back,
Yeah.
something like that, they know is going to be in the game a lot. $150, you get all the pictures all year.
Yeah.
It's a steal. I usually get 5 or 6 because everybody's hesitant, right? Then they start buying pictures and they spend more than $150. This year, where is he at? I don't see it.
Okay, now it's not staticky at all.
That's just by the reboot.
Yeah, we rebooted Joe and he saved the day again.
All right, I'll talk to you later.
Okay, thank you, my friend.
Later, Dad.
AZ, there's nothing like AZ, I'll tell you that. But before it was all staticky, and he said just, well, let's try, first thing is try reboot. He says it could be a cable, but it doesn't sound like it. All of a sudden it just happened, you know?
My question, what you didn't answer me, was you said both speakers were the same. Did you switch speakers and try it?
Yeah,
Okay, does the cable, this is my question, is the cable, when
the
you switch
cables plug
speakers,
into the back of the speakers.
okay, so next time it does it, the cable in this computer that was staticky, change that cable.
Well, you've seen my cable management system underneath here, right?
That could be the problem. You know, when you got 85 cables underneath everything and your feet under there and everything else, that could be the problem. Boone could
Yep.
walk through and mess up one.
Yep.
But
Hey,
what I'm
Uncle,
saying,
Uncle
Yeah,
Bill,
Bill's back.
he's back.
if it does it again though, Paul, if it does it again, the cable in the speaker that's scratchy, take it apart, take it out of the computer and put another one in there.
Okay.
That's because it might be, it still might be your cable.
Because it sounds really good now.
Oh, you know what to do to fix that? You smack the shit right out of it. That's it. Works every time.
That's what Joe usually does.
Either that or mute it, you know?
Well, when I that's what he usually does. He smacks the shit out of it, huh? All right.
Anything you can.
Anything you can. Yeah. You know, it's funny. Here's a weird one. While we're trying to figure out shit, my cell phone. I have OnePlus 9 Pro, whatever. It's a big one. You know, it was top of the watermark for that company 3 years ago, 2 years ago. I don't know, 3 years ago maybe. But it's still a pretty strong phone. You know, it's got 12 gigs of RAM. It's got a Exynos 8088. You know, it's still fine, right? And it's always, and the OnePlus phones, one thing about them, you may not know much about them, but they're a pretty decent sized brand, is that their speakers were loud, you know? I mean, easy to hear. I thought my hearing was starting to really go bad, you know, but it's weird. It just, out of nowhere, it'll, it gets difficult to hear. All the way up, no matter what, it's just soft, you know, no matter what you do. And I don't know if it's a software setting. And I'll tell you why I thought that, because it seemed like whenever I used the Bluetooth speaker, because I lay there at night with YouTube, put me to sleep, you know that, with my phone.
Right.
And plus I like white noise, so I have a fan running as well. This is how I sleep, you know. So that's why I also need a little more volume out of the phone to listen to my World War II stories or whatever the hell it is I'm listening to go to sleep to. And it gets really quiet. So I thought it's a setting. It's got something to do with background noise canceling. You know what I mean? Why is it doing this? And I don't know why I thought of it, but I wonder if anything got up in there. Now this thing has actually got a water rating, so that shouldn't be, unless the thin plastic, because it's probably like cellophane, you know, to keep the moisture out. Maybe it's compromised, you know.
Yeah.
And some dust or dirt got in there or something. I don't know, because I take a thing of canned air, right, and it works every time. I spray it in the slit where the speakers are, and it comes right back to life every single time. And I only got to do just like, that's it, and it's back. Is that weird? And it'll be fine for a while, and then out of the clear blue, I just do it again. And I don't know if it's got dust built up from being in my pocket. They shouldn't be able to get in because this has a waterproof rating.
Right.
So how did it get in there to begin with? Unless I messed it up. I don't know. You ever hear anything? You ever see anything like that?
Well, even with a waterproof rating, it must have a grill to allow the sound to come out from the speakers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the girl didn't get dirty in the middle of the night, sitting next to my bed
No.
on a stand, on a nightstand. You know, I mean, and off the nightstand even, because I've got one of those mounts that also wirelessly charges it. You know,
Right.
So, I mean, it's not even on the table. It's up in the air. So and why does it keep happening is another thing, you know? So, I mean, it's nothing should get in it. Like I took a little, I don't know if it was a thumbtack or a toothpick or something, and you could tell there's like a little screen in there too, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe when I did that one time, I broke the seal. I don't know. Maybe it
Yeah,
is
because
my
that
fault.
screen may be small enough that it keeps the water out at a certain level, and you may have punctured it a little bit.
I may have, you know, but I could still see it having like a diaphragm there, you know, like so super thin that as long as the speakers have a nice volume on them, it won't, you know, you won't know. You know what I'm saying? Something. It's got something to keep doing. I mean, that's one of the tricky things about waterproofing the phones is not just the fact that you can't you can't plug headphones into them, which originally that was my big thing, but everybody's got Bluetooth now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But that's the other thing. Is how do you do sound? You know, I hate when people do this. They're sitting at the light, and it's like a car length at least in between this person and the car ahead of them sitting at the light. At least a car length, if not more.
Yeah.
It is pretty busy. It sounds like a small thing, but this is a pretty busy trafficked area. This area, Port St. Lucie, really grown. So when you're doing that, you know, you got people trying to make turns, people entrance lanes, whatever. They can't get to it because the chuckleheads are afraid. And you know what it is? It's because they all stop short and then creep. They're all creepers. You know what I mean? They come to the red light, and for some reason they think, all right, I'm stopped. Now there's 6 inches, there's 6 inches, there's 6 inches. Everybody does that, and I don't get it. You're not going to get anywhere faster. How about stopping in a good spot to begin with? Learn how to drive, you know?
Oh yeah,
Anyway.
the guy like happened to my son. My son's right now he's not a policeman. He's going to be in about a week. But he was behind the car. The light changed. The car started to take off, and as he started to take off, Justin's looking at his computer, and Justin takes his foot off the brake like this, and he sees the guy taking off, so he looks over at the computer because something's coming through. And as he
the
does,
guy
all of a
stopped.
sudden, the guy stops and feels boom. He goes, "What was that?" You know. The guy said he thought the guy wasn't stopping at the red light. So,
Well, you know, accidents do happen.
and there was no damage, not even a scratch. He had one of those little soft bumpers on the front.
Okay. You just love tapped it.
Yeah, and so they got out, talked about it, and the guy said everything's good with me. You know, I don't have any problems with this. They shook hands, walked off. Week later, calls up and says one of your officers bumped into me when we didn't do a report.
What a dick.
Well, but he couldn't identify him. He couldn't tell what kind of car it was, anything. And my son, being an honest person he is, he said it was me. So they were going to put him in internal affairs for failure to comply with department policy.
That sucks.
Oh, I know. That's why he's looking at another place right now, because they were trying to find a way.
That's a good lesson. In the future, if you feel like doing something like that and you trust the guy, write the report up anyway and leave it in a desk drawer. Or leave it somewhere like
guarantee
your locker, and say, "Oh my goodness, here's the report. I forgot to turn it in." So, because there was no damage, and the guy said he didn't care.
Yeah.
And so the urgency was that I filled it out. Here it is. That'd be the lesson for the future. Now, of course, they'll accuse you. You just did that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, his biggest mistake, he said, was he should have got the guy's name and he should have had the body cam rolling.
Oh yeah, always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He said, if I'd had the body cam rolling, it makes a difference.
Especially nowadays, all the bad guys, all the idiots are out there with their phones and their cameras and outtaking everything to make it look like something it's not. You know.
Did he even do any damage to the vehicles?
No, there was no damage to anybody.
So
No
if
damage
a
at
cop
all.
accidentally tapped me and it didn't do anything, I wouldn't feel the need to go turn his ass in a week later and potentially
I agree.
lose his job.
That's why I think it was a setup.
Yeah, it's crap. They do that on purpose, and then he's going to say his neck is out and blah blah blah, or whatever, or you misaligned my bumper, you know, some crazy shit. Because the cops believed him, and they didn't even take photos. They didn't take anything, so they've got nothing. You know what I mean?
Probably
Uh,
reversed into his garage.
Lesson learned.
Probably reversed into his garage a few days later and thought he'd blame it on Justin.
The only
Yeah,
thing I
good.
would tell the officer is, if you see me speeding one time, you let me go.
He'd say, let's do a report. He'd look at you and say, now I better do a report with this joker. This crackerjack.
No, even better than that. Just, you know, hey, wherever and whenever I want to fly my drone in this town, you got no problem with that.
Hey, there you go.
I'll use your name. Officer Brady told me that this was legal here. But anyway,
You're right, Dre.
you know,
It's
it's
a
funny.
liability
This
issue.
Android.
so far, the Port St. Lucie cops, now because there's a stupid fucking national news story, I don't know what it's like now. But so far, as long as I've lived here, they could care less. You know, I flew at a park. The guy said, "Yeah, I guess so. I don't, whatever." You know what I mean? He wasn't even curious about it. Yeah, go fly it. You know, public park. I mean, that's probably what's going through his mind. If he's never been told it's illegal, he's like, "Well, it's a public park."
Right.
You know, it's a flying
Oh.
camera. People take
That's
cameras.
like,
You know, it's a wildlife. It's actually a wildlife reserve. A nice,
I was
nice
at-
little place to fly.
I was in Slidell a few weeks ago flying, and one of the cops was driving up, and he stood there and he was watching the drone, and he's talking to me about it, and we're talking about it, and I'm in one of the parks where it's all legal and everything. And I said, yeah, I was wondering if you come over here and you asking me if I was flying legally or not. That's what I thought you were doing. Like that. And he started laughing. He says, I don't even know what the laws are with drones. I have no clue.
Yeah, yeah. Most of them don't. You know, you know.
And he said,
Unless
you
you're,
look,
here's what had happened though. If they got really popular in his town and he got a slew of complaints about them, then they would start looking into it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But
not right now.
probably that's why I was pissed off about that national news story. I knew it was going to turn out to be fucking nothing, and then it got the focus on, oh my God, they're in the skies, and they're, you know, it was just bad for the community as a whole. To tell you the truth.
Yeah, and it turned out it was a company that was approved by the FAA. Why the fuck they didn't just come out and say that to begin with?
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
that's even worse.
I don't know. Maybe
Quit buying stuff, Paul.
some worry about intellectual property.
Then why
Or
do it over a
something.
major city then? Why didn't you go out in the
I
bump
mean,
up Egypt and
I guess
Minnesota
that's where they're
and shit?
located. Maybe they're assholes. It could be because they're, you know, it's
I mean, they
Stolen
could have hit
with
up a
both.
Midwest state where there was hundreds of miles of just open land and went and flew
What's the
around
name of
over
that
there.
company? It's A, Sol, and Hemor.
It's like, all right, we don't want nobody to see this drone, so let's fly it over New York City.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they figured nobody noticed. Who's looking up in the sky in New Jersey anyway? But apparently they were.
Oh, and I'm sure there was a couple of recreational pilots probably doing it just to freak people
Well,
out.
you know, yeah. Well, here's the thing. Don't think weather doesn't play into it, because if it's a star-filled sky, you know, it's a lot less noticeable. You know what I mean? You just saw some flashing lights and something going by. But it depends on how they flew it. If they were hovering in one place for a long period of time, then they're morons. You know, that's it. And then what you just said is absolutely true. Don't be stupid. Don't panic the public. Fuck, you see,
Yeah, they
some
could
of
have
these
just
things are
came out and said it was a test flight of some
Well,
aircraft.
I guess, but I guess it didn't want to be filmed. Well, I you know, they could have competition. I mean, that could have been their argument.
Yeah, but the thing is
it-
people, if people would have known
it-
that, though, I guarantee the media hype around it would have died down.
Of course,
What's up,
especially
Biggs?
if they should have done it after the fact, at least, you know. But ahead of time. But I mean, at least after the fact, because it became such a big national hysterical news story that anytime people were putting up fucking, you know, our drones. What do you call drones? And legal, you know, home-owned drones. And now all of a sudden there's this big frenzy, especially if they do it at night. You know, that's another thing too. These guys were tested at night, from what I could tell, the most part.
Well, and like I said
so
too, the
they probably
bad thing.
figured nobody would notice.
Well, the bad thing was them not coming out and actually saying anything. It just made the conspiracy rabbit hole go crazy, and everybody was treating it like it was Area 51.
No, you're right. They should have admitted it. You know. But the previous administration was always afraid of an egg on their face. Like how did we?
And it wasn't even bad
The
neither.
next question is, what are you doing testing? Unmanned aerial vehicles over populated areas to begin with, and they'd have to admit they allowed that.
My only thing would be that would justify that is if their programming needed to fly over a populated area, maybe for mapping or something. I don't know. That would be the only thing.
Well, like I said, if it's in some kind of secret stage or something, it doesn't sound to me like it's innocent. You see, because you could say that, right? But all right, well, they needed it for mapping. Oh, that means the thing is already being used. These were supposedly experiments and tests, weren't they? They were testing new drones. They weren't flying them for any particular purpose, but for manufacturing, and for testing, as far as I know. Because if they didn't, then that story is not long enough. The rest of the story is, well, what were they looking at? What was why did they need to be in the air if these drones are already capable of?
Oh, yeah, I remember when the whole fucking weird ass conspiracy came out that they were looking for a nuclear bomb that got lost. I was like, what the fuck did that?
Oh, I know. Hey, I tell you what, especially with AI around. Hey, tell me a story about about a secret drone flying over New Jersey, and the AI will probably come out with a doozy. At night only.
There was
runs away from helicopters.
There was some
runs away from helicopters.
Yeah, but there was some so-called expert that was going around all these like podcasts and was telling everybody about.
Somebody told them to shut up, seriously, because you know what? I'm sure the state and local government knew what was going on. I don't think that company would have put it up without that, because these things could have gotten intercepted by the national, by the what's the state level one?
The Air National Guard.
Air National Guard. They fucking shoot those things down in a heartbeat. But the thing is, they said they kept them away for their safety. What are they for? Their safety? It's a fighter jet. That seems kind of counterintuitive to what the $54 million went into to build that fucking jet, is to avoid the possibility of conflict. That doesn't sound right to me. I don't know. Maybe it's me.
I thought it was supposed to be a military company, so maybe they were testing.
Well, it was a private company. They just never said
private company, and he could, right, and that's where the military gets their shit. Companies propose plans, blueprints, blah blah, and they got to do testing, make sure it works right before they present it to for the ridiculous contract that they're going to get. Fuck. Too bad they didn't have it in their budget to go somewhere out in Nevada or something, and nobody would have fucking noticed anything.
My biggest thing is if they were testing it over a city, the only thing would make sense is, especially if it was military, is they'd have to do something with urban warfare or something.
Yeah, surveillance.
Well, you're right. Testing infrared systems, testing interception of radio signals, testing, what they would see if that town went off, or some kind of riot or something. Yeah, you're right. That makes a lot of sense. How it's got to get through a lot of interference from the radio waves that are being put out by all those households and everything, and how well it does to actually map how many people are there, where they're at all times. We got that kind of technology. They're just maybe honing it with an unmanned vehicle and they'll say, but this vehicle and whatever the advantages are, this to what we already have,
Yeah.
And right now, I think it's mostly still helicopters anyway.
It
seems like our drones are just for fucking attacking. I'm sure they've got surveillance drones. I know they do. I just realized something. We had Army representatives bring one.
Well, they all started off as surveillance, and then they went to an offensive platform.
Well, they did, but they've been using them to blow people up for a long fucking time.
Yeah, it was right after 9/11 is when they started arming them.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Ed. Good to see you, buddy.
Hello. I shut up long enough for him to say hello.
No, I didn't want to interrupt. Come on.
Ed is very thoughtful. He's a thoughtful kind of guy.
Deep in thought in all this wonderful information that I'm throwing out there, and I couldn't tell you 5 minutes from now what I was talking about.
Do you see? Can you see Ed's background?
Well, I see he has one.
Joe made
my
that
phone.
for him. Joe made that for him.
Let me make them big. Oh yeah, that's right. This is Zoom. I can make them big. Look at that. Yeah, it's cool actually.
Joe made that.
I tell you what. You could do that with like 3 wall stickers. If you actually wanted it on your, if you have a plain white wall somewhere, you wouldn't even need a green screen. You could just put that right up there on the wall and get natural lighting.
Oh.
Yeah. Because you know what I mean? You need the drone. And actually what you can do is 2 of the same drone, although one's a little bigger because it gives you the appearance it's heading towards you. So, but still, it would just be a reduction of the first one, you know, which wouldn't be hard.
No.
Right? And I'd say at least a couple more strips, you know. You don't want to do it?
25.
Or just hang
I'm
a
hearing
real drone from the ceiling like you used to do with the F models.
Yeah, we were kids. We had like to hang that stuff.
No.
Just use fishing line, eh, Mark?
No.
Yep.
What's up, Brenda, Dre, David, Dusty, Laura? Oh, I got Laura's package today. Came in the mail.
Yeah, I can't see anybody in the chat.
I got my Preston North End jersey
Hello, everybody.
signed by the team.
Hello, everybody. Yeah. So, Paul, how are you?
Well, getting older by the day, and it's not the body's giving out slow but sure.
Another
Well,
call.
that's the goal, though. You know, getting older by the day, because when you stop achieving that, you know.
Bingo, Joe. Bingo.
The thing of it is, Bill, is that I can always tell that I'm getting over the hill because I'm starting to walk tilted forward, you know. And when I walk, I'm not that centered as far as, you know, this foot might go that it just.
Paul, it's the Boston creams.
Speaking of which, I got some Boston creams in the refrigerator.
It's the Boston creams.
You know, if you've got that counterbalance going on in the front, you know what I mean? You gotta, what you gotta do is put a couple of cinder blocks like in your pants pockets in the back, and you can balance that and walk straight up and down.
Just put your phone in your back pocket.
I just watched an older fella walk by here straight up and down like that on the sidewalk. No.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm walking like this.
Was he eating a Boston cream?
What's that, Joe?
Was he eating a Boston cream?
He had a box of them under his arm.
No, he didn't.
Yeah.
Defense rest.
Yeah.
So how's your wife doing, Bill?
She's good, thank God. You know, she was hugely helpful to me this past weekend.
Good.
You know, and she's been a real sport about having people stay over. You know, I had Lloyd here from Friday till this morning, actually.
You mean she had to cook even more food because Lloyd was there?
No, she didn't have to cook more food. She cooks so much food.
That was
for me. You're right.
No,
you're right.
Lloyd got his leftovers. What would have been his leftovers.
Yeah.
There were more dishes to wash. She put in front of Lloyd like the same size fucking servings she puts in front of me. You know what I mean? And it's like truck stop servings at least, plus about 25%. You know what I mean? The old school truck stops where the plate weighed like 60 pounds if you got biscuits and gravy. But anyway, so she puts that, but he looks good. That looks good. She was experimenting. She did some Salisbury steak with, and you see what I think of the Salisbury steak. I think of those over-seasoned, dry, frozen patties that my mother used to buy, ready to go from some company. Who knows? I did, you know, and then you could put them in a fucking toaster oven if you have one. Yeah. But no, she made these nice things, you know, and they're with the brown gravy and a whole bunch of mushrooms on it and mashed potatoes. So it was nice. But
Well,
he looked
that's,
at it, he's like,
you've got a good wife, Bill, because you
Oh,
can
she
always
puts-
tell
she
the
puts
ones
up
that
with
have
me.
a good wife because they feed well.
oh yeah, no, it keeps the house clean. It works hard. She came home. She knows I'm still not feeling well, so she got. Which it's not that she wasn't doing it anyway, but she'd come home from work after working all day, running her ass off at that restaurant, and she comes home and she cuts the grass. she actually, that's what she did. Cut the grass. I'd still put dinner on the table. Yeah.
Hey, Uncle Bill, did Lloyd find his teeth?
No, I don't know what the fuck he did. He may have swallowed them in his sleep.
Oh shit!
I don't know. It's only
He
it's
actually
not like
lost his teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Maybe
he was in my room. You know what I
I'm
mean?
sorry. I let
the
the cat
office-
out of the box.
the place I usually stream from, you know, and it's and I'll be the first to admit it, it's very cluttered. You know, it's like an office with a bed in it. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care. People don't go in there. You know, it's not dirty. By the way, don't. Anyway, it's not, it's not dirty. It's just there's a lot of stuff that I reach for on a fairly regular basis. Intermingle with a bunch of shit I forgot I even had. You know what I mean? You know, just on. You know,
It's just
on,
boxes
and,
all the way to the ceiling, eh, Uncle Bill?
Well, I got my hobbies and everything I do. The garage is great, but it's not air conditioned. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to go in there when it's fucking 90 degrees and 70% humidity. You know.
So what you're saying is that the next time we see you drinking some peanut butter whiskey, you can do this, and you think it's ice cube, it'll be his teeth.
It'll be pee.
His teeth in the bottom of the glass.
Oh, his teeth. I thought you said pee. You know, God
He's gonna
forbid.
go-
That may happen. You know, I'm getting absent-minded.
He's gonna look
on
in
his
there
live
and say, "What
stream.
the
Look
hell
at my
is
new
this?" You
Bubba
know?
teeth.
I don't know. I think something. I'm going to end up with the bite marks on my ankle one day when I'm walking through the bedroom. So he's got fucking Lloyd bit me all the way from Oklahoma.
He's gonna get home and wash his clothes, and he's gonna take it out. And he's gonna find it flipping around in the dryer, it'll be in a pocket somewhere.
Yeah, it's going to turn up. I'm sure of it. I mean, he did have a lot of shit jammed into that. It was a pretty decent carry-on. I don't know how they let. I guess old veterans that they wheel on with a wheelchair, they give them a little extra because I've never had a carry on that size. But you know, because that's the last thing you want is to be held up, and then they're going to make it check it. I'd rather it be a little smaller than I'd like and get on. But you know, I told him, I said, you know, what about the line? And then he goes, wheelchair. He's a disabled veteran. He's got a card carrying. He's, you know, he makes him, so he gets right on. You know. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. It wasn't worth it to get disabled over, but you know, at least there's something.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's definitely earned that service.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's an easy guest. He fell in love with my mattress. I put a Tufted. You ever hear Tufted Needle?
No.
It's like purple. It's a foam mattress brand, you know.
Oh yeah, Purple has
And
got some good mattresses.
they're very expensive.
Make sure I
too.
keep this
Yeah,
handy.
they are.
But they're good. No, and they get away with being expensive because first of all, they were like a leader. You know what I mean? They were one of the first ones to get into this, and they were already around for a while because of the seat cushions and what, you know, the purple cushions and shit. But they're still like, oh, this is boring shit. I spent too much time looking into mattresses. If I'm going to spend $1,000, which I didn't, I spent less because I only bought a twin. But it's still $1,000. I will do so much stupid freaking. I don't know. I think that's 3/4 of the fun of buying something.
Yeah, look at how much the Purple Harmony pillow is on Amazon.
Well, yeah, they got different levels too. Yeah,
$199
of mattress. Huh?
That's just for the pillow, $199.
Holy fuck, is it made out of
Oh
gold?
yeah, to sit on. Yeah.
And then they have a purple pillow, another version that's $249.
Well, they've gone up quite a bit. I think purple's allegedly made here. I think. I could be wrong. Tufted Needle is allegedly from here. They're smaller. There's a lot of players out there in that foam mattress thing. And I mean, even the traditional mattress makers are doing it too, you know. But I got, you know, the right firmness, and because what I didn't have an actual spare bed. We slept together for years. But my apnea got so bad, I'd keep her up all night. Even with that freaking thing on, I'll still snore with the thing on my face sometimes.
I
Oh,
thought he
you
was
got
just
one of
anyway.
those, you got one of those things?
Dusty. I thought he was just putting an M.2 in.
Yeah, I have
Um,
a CPAP. Yeah,
And you
It's
were
actually,
right.
I think I had it. Huh?
I said you were right. Yes, Purple mattresses are designed, assembled, and fulfilled in the U.S.
I think you trailed off at the end there.
I said
Mattress.
they're designed, made, and fulfilled all in the U.S. Purple
Yeah,
mattresses.
and you know what? I don't not to sound like it. I like that. When something, I would prefer to purchase something that was made here.
I think they're probably only sold in the US as well, because I've never heard of them.
Purple, they're pretty big.
A
When's
lot
the last
of
time you bought it? Looked
of
into buying a mattress.
YouTubers actually get sponsored by Purple. I've seen
Yeah,
quite a
no,
few
they're pretty large.
YouTubers.
They've gotten pretty large. They're probably the largest foam mattress manufacturer. I
Well,
would guess.
the only thing that I remember from years ago about sitting on Purple was you had hemorrhoids.
What?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Is that the color? Because I've never been able to crane my neck that far to find out what they look like.
Well, see, the thing of it is that blood is purple. It's bluish colored. It isn't red like,
No, you're stuck out. You're stuck out so far. It was hanging behind your balls like a tail.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, look at the color of that! Wow, what a pretty purple. It's almost a dark lavender.
I'm glad I waited to eat.
What are you having for dinner tonight, Joe?
I don't know yet. I got to go to that meeting. I'm gonna be leaving in about 5 minutes.
Oh, you're going to go to the meeting? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's nice the freshman parents coming in. So these are all new parents. There's going to be right now in the football program at Mandeville, it's 185 kids.
Oh, wow.
So it's about 40 more than last year, which is going to be real nice. And there's about 70 parents coming in tonight, freshman parents. So these are the guys that
you're going to be handing out cards everywhere, right?
Yeah, well, it's the future of their program.
There you go. He's got all his cards ready.
I got a stack of cards to go with me. We'll get my face out there. In fact, I'll be wearing my shirt that I wear out there, everything. I'll be marketing tonight.
There you go.
Because they can't beat it. They play 8 to 10 games. I shoot all their pictures. They get all their pictures. Their quarterback, running back. They'll get every picture in every game I shoot of them for $150 on digital. They can't beat that. I lock them in the first year, and then the rest of the time it's $250 a year.
You lock it in the what?
I lock them in the first year at $150.
Oh,
but then they want the
year.
pictures next year. Yeah, the next year they want them again. So it's $250, and it stays at $250 throughout. If they got 2 kids, I'll do the 2 kids for $250. It's not gonna be anything added to me, and that's why I get 37, 40 parents.
Well, the 2 kids, you don't care if they're the same grade?
Well, I don't care.
It'd be twins. It'd be twins. I mean,
the only difference if you have a junior
and, what the
and a
fuck would they
freshman.
know? She could say, "Well, that's Marvin, and that's Aaron."
Yeah.
And then how the fuck do you know? I hope the numbers are clear.
Yeah, you hope the numbers are clear. But if you got
one kid the whole time and just
if they're 2 freshmen, it'll be $150. If it's a freshman and a sophomore or junior or senior, it's $250. I charge them the higher price, but they get the other one free. I usually have about 2 of those a year.
Okay, that sounds great, actually.
Like I said, last year I had 37
you know what?
kids.
All that shit's photography is fucking expensive. I remember school photos when we were kids. Did our parents actually pay for them? School photos? I mean, when we were really young.
Yeah, stuff's expensive.
It must have been cheap because my parents paid. They were cheap. and I got.
Then I've got 2 days in July where I do the complete team photos, individuals, all of that, a green screen. And then 1 day in August where we do the full team and all the position groups. August 8th, I'll be finished with all the teams and individuals. and then football season
And-
starts right after that.
Well, those last ones you just discussed, the team photos and like that. Do you include that with their package and give them that too?
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
I got
So they're more.
Yeah,
So
team
you
picture
got,
day
you got
is.
some parents that are paying you big bucks, right?
Oh yeah, but the team picture day it starts at $20 for a package. 2 5x7s, 8 wallets, $20. You want a team photo? It's $30. It goes in there, it makes it $30. The biggest package I put out there is $50 because they got money and everybody leans towards the $30 package. There's a bunch of them in the $50 package because it's a special deal, and you get the buttons they wear and everything else. I do the yard signs, and I do the head they hold up in the stands. I do all of those. And last year, in just the team photo side, I made about 8,000. And then totally, I made about 14,000. Just in that little 10-week period, 12-week period.
And then you
So-
do basketball.
I do basketball, I do soccer, I do softball, baseball. Then I do, that's at Mandeville. Then I do North Shore track. In North Shore track, I make as much, about half as much as I make, because they all pay cash. Makes it even better. But I had parents last night asking me, when can we start paying you? I said, when we shoot the pictures, the first day. Because that's my reserve that I put in that covers me for the months like right now when I'm shooting one thing a week.
Right. That's great that parents support their kids like that. They get all excited about all that stuff. Because I'm sitting here thinking, I don't remember if my parents even went to my graduation. But then, I don't know if I remember my graduation.
My parents didn't go to my graduation.
Like getting your diploma handed to you and said, did that happen? I don't remember it. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have just skipped that, just had them send me the fucking thing. Because you can do that.
Yeah, my parents didn't go to mine.
No? I went to
No.
my kids.
When I played football, they went to 2 football games in the 4 years that I played, 3 years I played football. And when I marched in the parades, they went to 1 parade in the band. They didn't even go, thinking about it, in junior high, they didn't even go to the band concerts. Or high
You're in
school.
the band?
I was in the band.
You were in the band?
Yeah, I was in the
Yeah, I
band when I
played-
got clarinet.
I played trombone. I played trombone. I played baritone, and then I went to trombone.
Yeah, when I
I
got out of
marched
high
in- I
school, I
marched-
went in the Marine Corps band for a while.
And I marched in some parades in Hasbrook Heights, New Jersey. And maybe that's why I don't like parades. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I was scarred. Yeah. I dropped it in high school. But
Yeah, when I got out of high school, I did three and a half years in the Marine Corps band before I got out of that and decided to do something else.
yeah.
But I was in the
couldn't
Marine
stand the
Corps.
back of it.
I was in the Marine
I'm
Corps for
sorry.
13 years, 8 months, 29 days.
And 63 minutes.
I used to have the hours written down. I can't remember what it was. I've
Did
got
you
it
catch
written in the
that?
back.
I heard a giggle there. 63 minutes. I'm a jerk. Oh God. I tell you, I'm glad I got extra sleep this time. The week, weekends in the past, people
What you doing?
were overly concerned for my welfare, because of the thing, and they didn't need to be. I was just irritated all day. I was, it was fine, But
So
but
you
that's nice.
you played the role of the grumpy old man, did you, or what?
A bit, yeah. You got the old man peeing his
You know what?
pants.
It was just Lloyd. His attitude rubbed off on Bill.
I'm going to jump.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
Lloyd's
good
way
luck,
more
buddy.
pleasant.
Okay.
See you,
later.
Joe.
See you, Joe.
Lloyd is
Have a good one.
Lloyd is way more pleasant than I am. Let me tell you right now. I'm sorry, what?
Ed said goodbye to Joe.
Oh, no, no, he's easy to He doesn't eat much. I was telling a story about all the food, the plate. Well, he was, oh, I'll have to finish the rest tomorrow. I'm full already. And to me, and I saw him eating, but there was still more than a full portion on his plate when he was done. He's a very light eater, you know, and he's kept raving over it. And then my wife also made loaded. She made, and it's like, first of all, that plate was a bit heavy, you know, probably 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds of food or whatever. And then she put a bowl, and his stuff's delicious, by the way. I just finished it today. She made some like loaded baked potato soup, you know, creamy potato. Put the bacon in it, and she puts a bunch of cheddar cheese on it. I love that stuff. It's slamming if it's right. And this was a really good batch. So you say, Chase goes, wow, that's really good. He took 2 spoonfuls, and then that was it. It was done. So as far as that's concerned, he was a cheap guest. And he got good sleep though on that Tuft & Needle mattress, and they're not a sponsor, just to be clear. But you were looking up prices. Who was looking up prices?
Justin.
Justin was right. We compare the difference between that and go to the Tuft & Needle site. You know, between that and the purple. You know, it's enough to make it. You know, it's funny. I had this long conversation. You know, Oz with him because he was on this. Yeah, Sean Oz, and he was on this. We shared this thing, this love of mattresses. Anyway, because he's got a lot of back problems stuff, you know, and he was going through every top tier, you know what I mean? Because there's different levels. I mean, you can get a double density, triple density, like there's different layers of foam, you know, and then some of them have foam springs, and they become more like a regular mattress, and they just, you know, it just goes up from there. But he was testing them all, and purple won for him actually. And I'm telling you, he did this for a couple of years. You know, he was thinking about doing a video on it. I mean, people are gonna, you know, I think a lot of people would watch that. Mattresses, I mean, are something pretty much everybody uses at one time or another. You know, not a lot of homes without them.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunstar, how you doing, Brenda?
Hi, Brenda.
She's hanging right in there. She's a Florida gal.
Did you guys watch my stream at all? Paul, you popped in, didn't you?
Yep.
I thought you did. I remember that. Yeah. I didn't tend to the stream as much as I have in the past. But well, part of it was it took me over 2 hours to come back with the damn pizza. What a shit show that was.
Yeah, I was in the waiting room almost all of the time that you got the pizza because Lloyd didn't know.
I was there. Well, Lloyd, he's funny. He goes, well, you're going to go. You should go now so we can have it at 12. I was thinking you should have told me sooner because it's 11. And it's not up the street. I have to go back almost to my house to get the Sam's Club pizza, right? So that's like 15 minutes each way. So there's a half an hour.
How many pies did you
20,
get?
26. So,
26 pies?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I even think 24 would have easily been fine. There were a couple left over, but that's not bad. A couple left over is not bad. The last year when we got 30, you know, we were just asking people to take pies back to the hotel with, you know, because they're big. They're a big pie. You know what I mean? They're
how many slices on the pie?
Well, they cut them into 10s. So I wanted to make sure everybody had at least 2. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't eat any. It's only $250. Can't beat that shit.
No.
Sam's Club doesn't charge any extra for meat. It's $8.99 a pie, whether it's cheese or pepperoni, and they have 3 different styles. They got that, and they got a 4 meat. It's called. So I'll have to try that sometime.
And how wide are they?
I wasn't pushing my luck because they almost didn't make it. See, here's the thing: you can't pre-order. I have the app. I'm a Sam's Club member. They have a website. if I want to order a dozen rotisserie chickens to be delivered curbside to me, I can. You can't order pizza. You have to go in to ask for the fucking pizza. Just the pizza. Everything else they have that's cooked in that market thing they have there is fine, except pizza. Nobody has any. You see all the complaints online. Like nobody has any idea why this is. You know. So last year, when I found out the price, I went and got a Sam's Club membership for the first time after living in this town since 15 years. And it's right up the street. I mean, I could walk to it. You know, it takes maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes to walk to it. It's just up around the corner right there. And I never joined it. And I didn't care to. But anyway, for $9 a pie, it's worth it. And it was good, you know. But the last time I tried to call them, they couldn't put me through to the kitchen. They don't have a phone for some reason. Somebody must have been a bad. I'm thinking, what were they making, long distance phone calls? Who cares? It doesn't cost anything. But anyway, you can't call there. And they said, no, you can't pre-order it. You just have to come in and order it. So that's what I did. And I went in and I ordered 30 pies last year. And the girl behind the counter said, okay. And they made them in a half an hour. They had some routine going on there. There was like 5 of them back there. Ding, 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 ding. There's a line of people getting food. They're all getting served. They're doing a great job, honestly. So I raved about them. I said, no shit. So this year I tried to do the same thing. I walked in and I told them I needed 26 pies, which is 4 less than last year, right? And the woman behind the counter looked like she was going to drop dead on the, what? No, sir, you have to order ahead. I said, I'd like to. I've tried to. So now, I mean, and it took 2 managers and 45 minutes to decide they were going to make it. Because I was starting to get irritated. Because I was like, if this is going to be a no, and I'm standing here. I mean, 10 minutes is one thing, because I could just go up the street to Domino's, and Domino's will fucking make them. They got a conveyor belt fucking system there, man. They will. What's 26 pies to Domino's? How many hundreds do you think they sell to this area delivery? Like every fucking night. You know what I'm saying? So I was going to do it, and that's right around the corner. And then he finally decided we were going to do it, but a manager put the gloves on. A manager made him. And they said so I had to wait till 1 fucking o'clock. So I went home because I'm right around the corner. That's where I was. I couldn't call anybody, tell them what was going on either, because my phone was being used for the stream. It was sitting next to my laptop. So this was all I thought, well, if I go to my house, I'll turn on my computer and I'll hit them up on Messenger,
Yeah.
And that's what I did. Yeah. And I took a magnificent shit while I was here, so that was helpful. It was. I was refreshed. So
it was a refreshing moment.
Uncle Bill, Rod said,
yeah.
Uncle Bill, do you carry extra pants to change pee?
Do I carry extra pants?
Yeah.
Is that what he said?
Underwear, yeah.
Underwear? Of course I do. I got a bag. I got a mom bag.
He's got a carry-all bag, yep.
But
he's ready.
But it's for me.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, shit, it dumps out. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, friends and neighbors.
Not funny.
Full of dighties and wipes and stuff. I like to keep fresh. You know what? It's actually improving, though. I've noticed I'm retaining, I'm holding back a little more each day. So I'm thankful for that anyway. I'll be glad when I could be somewhat normal. I'm not going to say normal because that's never going to happen. But somewhat normal. What is normal anyway? My normal is not the same as yours. I mean, I hope not. That's boring. I mean, Paul, you're kind of normal, Normal guy.
I haven't been told that very often, Bill. But
I know that's probably the nicest thing I'm ever going to say to you. Well, you're kind of normal.
That's it.
Well, Paul, you're awesome.
You are he's the optimist. see if I could turn this around here. You can't see them. The dogs are staring at me through the fence over there. But the front of my truck is blocking the view. Oh well, so they try. I'm just sitting there going, Dad, why are you still sitting in the truck? Get in the house. Something wrong? What's wrong? Where's my treat?
Yeah, that's more like it.
You never get
No,
sleep.
yeah, I've like trained them to be annoying, you know, because every time I'm going to leave the house for any period of time, I give them a treat on the way out the door. I always thought it as a comfort thing for them, you know what I'm saying? And have a little something to chew on, then we'll probably maybe go nap or relax or whatever. But problem with that is I got to get the ones that have the sticks so that forces Mandy to chew on something, because
What?
everything else she just swallows fucking whole. I've never seen it. It's a Shih Tzu, and you give them like the Dentoo things, which are they're like that long and round, and they're kind of. And she just whoop, they're gone. They're just she's some dogs do that. It's not great for them, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I have to tell Precious to chew on it. Don't just swallow it.
You got teeth for a reason, bitch. And that's kind of a problem, because now in their old age, because they don't seem it, but they're 12 and a half years old. Mandy's right now, they did first of all, their fucking doctor visit for the two of them, the yearly visit just cost me $780 something. You know, and that's what's because they each got 6 months of NexGard or whatever the fuck. Yeah, NexGard Plus. You know, the protection for. So you know, we're doing the whole shebang. You know,
Well,
when it comes to.
that's because Bill, I don't know about you, but my dogs are family. You know.
Well, fucking expensive family.
I'm lucky.
I had to put a fence around my back. Screw that. I did a lot of things for these animals, but anyway. So but Mandy's the one right now. She said this got tartar and this and that. So, and there might be a loose tooth or whatever. And she gave me an estimate, and the range is from like $580 to $860 something, I think, for a dental appointment for my Shih Tzu, my 12-year-old Shih Tzu.
Wow.
So, yeah. I mean, frankly, we could probably brush her teeth, clean her up, you know, work on it. And if she's got any loose teeth, maybe I'd take her in to have that taken out. I don't know. We'll see. It depends how bad they are, you know. I know it's not good. They can get infected. Plus, her breath stinks. There is that. I thought she killed something. But yeah, and I think that's the problem. She's not as, and the other one's teeth's fine. And you know, they're the same.
Yeah.
They were born together. Yeah. Same.
Got to get the dental, chew sticks.
Well, I get them. That's what I give them. That's their main treat. They get that the most. So it's a chew. It's like a striped chew stick, and it's got 3 clumps of fucking meat on it. And you know, dried chicken or whatever flavor you grab, and they do them. And when they're done with the meat part, they do just let them sit around. But if they're not being given a treat or eating what my wife feeds them, they'll pick them back up and they'll chew on those things.
Welcome back, Dominic.
Yep.
They'll be all over the goddamn house. But you know, my wife started doing. She collected them all up. There was a large number of them, and she put them in a pot. And first thing she did was clean them. She cleaned them. She put them in a pot and she boiled them. And what happens is they soften, and now they look like pigskin. You know what I mean? When they're done, they unravel and they're soft. Yeah. And we use those as treats. They love them, and they actually chewed on those. So, but even if they didn't, that would make its way out. You know. But anyway, what?
Pretty much exactly what they make them out of.
Yeah, probably, you know, but you know, you want to use. I put them in a bag, keep them in the refrigerator, but you don't want to keep them too long because, like anything else, they'll start to spoil. But they're free. I mean, that's just it's an after treat, you know, little extra. Yeah, and honestly, with these animals, the way Shih Tzus are, how ridiculously affectionate they are. the treat, I swear to God, is not just because they're hungry, because they're not. My wife puts out, she makes some jasmine rice with fresh chicken or ham or whatever, and
All the
you
good
know,
stuff, yeah.
they get some rice in it. She tries to balance it. You know, she knows what they're supposed to have. The one dog likes vegetables. Bella likes vegetables. She's a fucking vegetarian, I swear to God. But you know, but she'll put it out, and they're all excited, and they smell it, and then they'll just stare at it because they want. But if I take bits of it and put it to their mouth, they'll eat it. It's like, you know what I mean? So I think the treats is more an expression of
Love.
like,
Yeah.
Gaining my attention for that, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. As it is the fact that they like chewing on treats, but of course dogs do like chewing. But these are fussy dogs. That's what I'm telling you. It's surprising. You drop a hot dog, you decide to break up and give them some pieces of hot dog, they'll sit there, sniff at it, and look at it. A fucking hot dog. What dog?
Yeah.
What did you? Oh, gone the whole thing, you know.
No,
You
they're
know?
looking at it and going, "What the hell?"
If I picked it up and put it to her mouth, she'll eat it. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
what?
Why did you put it on the floor?
Yeah, if I dropped it on the
What
floor,
is
it was just
it? Yeah.
turkey meat. They were doing that on Thanksgiving. Eat that fucking. Are you crazy? Eat that. You know? I didn't want them licking my fingers. I was cutting the turkey up. You know what I mean? So I thought I was just bits of dark meat their way, and I didn't want to have to keep cleaning my fucking hands in the middle of ripping that thing apart. Wife got another 24-pound turkey this past year. You know, it's the first year I failed finishing everything before she tossed it. I usually succeed. I did fail. That's ridiculous. It's just the two of us. She's got to start, you know. Got to start cutting that back. It's wasteful. Sometimes it's easier to find the gigantic ones. Yeah, because that's not everybody gets such a big ass turkey, and that may be all they have left if you go too close to Thanksgiving. The really small ones and the really big ones. You know what I mean?
Well, next year, go in and say, "Give me a 15-pound turkey, and can you put a 25-pound label on it?"
Yeah, 15 is skin and bones. I don't want a 15. At least an 18. Come on now, don't be like that.
So Dominic, what have you been up to?
Oh, I'd attend to a few matters, and then I'll go off.
Thank you, Captain Vig.
He doesn't like to share his business with the ladies on the stroll. He just has to go and slap them alongside the head and collect his cut of the money, you know.
I just had an appointment I needed to attend to.
I love Dominic. What a diplomatic non-answer that was. Attending to some match. It almost sounded like you said something. You know? Well, of course you were attending to some. I would imagine, even if you had to go to just going to the bathroom, is attending to some matters. That could be anything. Yeah. Made my bed. Yep, I attended to that matter. You know.
Yep, I did. I attended to that.
Yep. See, why do we do that? I'm really questioning that. I've got no. I'm not proving anything to anybody. The bed I sleep in is in the office, and I make it every day. And nobody goes in there but me.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, it's my wife does. You know, when she puts the laundry up or away or whatever.
Now, do the dogs sleep in bed with you or no?
No. We keep them. They're not penned, but they're kind of penned. I have.
Yeah, I've seen it. You got gates around.
Yeah, they get those folding metal things that you can turn into a pen. You know, which we got them for when they were little, so they could be in the yard. I didn't have a fenced-in yard, you know, and I got like 3 of them, I think. Yeah, so it could be a big area for them. You know what I'm saying? So I linked them all together and put them up. And when they were real little, when they were fucking, you know, you couldn't take them home till they were 8 weeks old, and our dogs were like 8 weeks old when we brought them here. So they're pretty fucking
Are they
small.
all about the same age, or are they different ages?
No, they're sisters. They're out of the same.
Same litter.
They came
right?
out of the same litter. Yeah, Bella was the runt of the litter. Matter of fact, but I'm sure she's bigger now than some of them became because she's actually even Bella, who's the small one for a Shih Tzu, is a little on the big side. You know, weight wise, and they're not fat. They tell me that. You know, I take them to the fucking vet. They get a lot of exercise. They got some muscle on them. You know what I mean? It's what I did was I've told you the story. I think I put from the house into the garage, the door there, the solid core door. Like put a doggy door in that for them, so they can get into the garage area. Of course, garage area is hot as hell. I don't want them actually hanging out there, but we'll put dishes out, water, whatever. And then don't get me wrong, it's not a hot box. My house is a lighter color. And then I put a doggy door through the wall of my garage into the backyard. So they have access to the backyard whenever they want. So they get plenty of exercise. You know, and I have no vermin in my backyard. You know, I mean, other than those that just passed me through. You know, yeah. And Mandy, she may like this. She does know how to use her teeth, man. She's killed many things back there. Yeah, sweet girl, ripping heads off bunny rabbits and stuff. What a doll! Oh yeah, dragged the headless rabbit into my house with a doggy doll. You're a monster.
Here, Daddy, look what I caught.
Yeah, bring home dinner. Yeah. I don't know where she got that wolf-like fucking attitude from. She's a little fluff ball that likes to sit on your lap and stare in your eyes all day and kill things. I mean, it's kind of creepy when you think about it.
Boone is my little wild child here.
They say those dogs are like the Chinese thought they had a soul, because most dogs, if you stare them in the eyes, it's a sign of intimidation. Most animals, that's a challenge. And these dogs, for some reason, love it. You know, I mean, they will you can't outstare a Shih Tzu. It'll sit there and just look at you, and until you stop breathing.
Mine is the same way.
It's really weird, man. Huh?
Mine is the same way.
Now, don't get me wrong.
He's wiggling his tail all the time.
What kind of dogs you have?
I got a Japanese. It's like a Shih Tzu.
Havanese. Yeah. Do you keep it long, or do you keep it with the fur, or do you shave it, or what do you do?
In the summer, we train him, like shave it down because it gets too hot for him.
Yeah, because they got some serious fur. So does Shih Tzu. Well, my wife does it herself in the garage. Yeah, they like the attention. You don't have to strap them or anything. She just they just let her do whatever she wants, you know, which is pretty cool. Sometimes they resist a little. You know, they put their head down, and Bella does this kind of creep up 2 inches towards her every time she calls her name without getting up. Like that's gonna work. You know, you're gonna be grabbed any second now, right? Dogs are funny. Had a lot of dogs in the course of my life. They all had different personalities. Funny thing is, the only bad dog I ever had, and I don't want to say bad because he wasn't necessarily bad, he was skittish, was a Shih Tzu. Many years ago, when my son, he was born in '88, so he was only like 5 or 6 years old or something, and I don't know if he got scared at night, but he decided to go into his big brother's bed, right? And the Shih Tzu was in the bed, and it was dark, and he crawled in, and the Shih Tzu snapped and bit him right on the face.
Oh, wow.
Now, I was being a hyper protective father, and my crying son with a bite on his face from this fucking dog who was always a little nippy. We got it from we saved it from a shelter, but we treated it great, man. We lived in the country. We had a house out in the country. We had plenty of room to run around. You know, we treated it well. We fed it well, groomed it, and it just would not get. It must have been really maltreated, you know, wherever the hell it was.
It has a big trust issue.
I guess because it would snap, it would nip,
Yeah,
it
you
would
probably-
bite. A Shih Tzu, a biting Shih Tzu. That's not their personality at all. Something they were raised in a horrific. You know what I mean? That's why they were in a shelter. So anyway, however, I wasn't thinking that at 2 o'clock in the morning when this animal, who I really never particularly liked for all the reasons we were just discussing, but it didn't have the greatest personality. It just didn't. Got grabbed by the scruff of its neck and thrown out the front door. You know, and I know that's animal abuse and this and that. The thing attacked my son, and I lost it. She finally came back. I let her back in later eventually. She actually started sitting by my feet after that. How about that? Isn't that funny? You know, she didn't bite anybody after that either. Can't have that. Can't have that. Because you know what would happen if I told the shelters that she was biting people? They'd put her down anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hello, Andrew. Hello,
What's
Andrew.
up? What's up?
Hi.
Andrew.
Hi, Andrew.
What's up?
This
Uncle
guy-
Bill is just regaling us with his animal project.
Mm-hmm.
I was just filling in dead airspace. That's all, you know.
Well,
Mhm.
and it's appreciated too because Dominic's not real talkative tonight because he must have
Yeah.
problems.
No.
He must have problems with the girls today.
Dominic, yeah, but see, here's the thing. When
Oh.
Dominic speaks, it is something of great relevance and value and evasion.
A bit like Charles.
What about wisdom?
What about wisdom?
Anyways, looks like if you want to buy Jones stuff, TVs, whatever, you better buy it now.
If
Good
It's gonna be
luck.
twice. It's gonna be twice as much tomorrow.
Good luck. Did you guys see he put 104?
Yeah, 104. Yep.
104%.
Fuck. That's gonna be crazy.
On Chinese stuff, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I'm
Which is
sorry
like
to-
everything.
Well, here's what I'm wondering. Does that mean if you go to a Chinese restaurant, you're going to pay 104% more or what?
No.
But I bet you they're not gonna be sending drones over there.
Hopefully, they won't be spitting in Americans' food.
Nobody would buy the Mavic 4 Pro because it'll be $4,500 just for the base.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Well-
expensive.
Well,
Uh,
I'm pretty sure they would know that it wouldn't sell, so it'd be up to them whether they want to discount the price to absorb some of that.
So is the price
That's
gonna
still
be,
way too much to absorb.
is it going to be a lot more than the base for the Mavic 3 Pro?
Mm-mm. But with 104% tariff thrown on top of it, good luck.
Still, it's a lot.
Well, you're going to see a lot of those companies that sell a lot of American products are going to be moving plants over to the U.S.
There's
Eventually.
also 50 countries looking to talk with Trump on the tariff.
Yeah.
Uncle Bill, I know you can't read the chat. Brenda said that she got her pup from the shelter 4 weeks ago, and she's a sweetheart.
Oh, good. No, it's always good to do that. You know, you get a good dog, you know. Ours wasn't that great, but, you know, most people have good experiences with their animals, you know. And frankly, I lived in a country, I also had a beagle. It was an outdoor beagle. Now, it wasn't a rescue, so to speak. It was my brother-in-law's dog, and he moved to New Mexico. Where I lived was like the town of Hobby. No, it was that. Sorry, it was the town of Hobby. I said the Hobby Indians. Anyway, it was in the country, right? It was farmland.
Mhm.
But Frisbee, because that was
Hey,
my
TJ.
father-in-law's last name, because we had his farm, his 60-something acres right there, and out of it he cut an acre for the kids. So right next to him was us, with our acre, and it's a perfect square to it, a 208 by 208, right? And then the next property over was my sister, and the next property over from that was supposed to be the other sister, but what she did was she married the guy that had the 100 acres adjoining. You know, So, so they had that all the way to the end of the road. So it was just us, you know what I mean? And
Hey,
it's
TJ,
kinda
how you
cool.
doing?
I forgot why I brought it up. Brought it up for a
TJ,
reason.
TJ's in the chat. Bill, you want to tell him anything?
DJ, come
No,
in.
hey, yeah, come in, PJ. Tell us what a great time you had at
Well,
DeVito.
yesterday you had a shout out when you guys were having lunch at the bar.
Did we? I don't remember. I was plowed. No, I wasn't. It was interesting going the whole weekend without drinking. I finally had a beer on Monday. Michael Wright. I think Michael Wright might have. You know, Captain Ray's got COVID, right? So does.
Yeah, Lloyd announced it last night. Ken.
Yeah, and Kenny. Yeah, they sent me the pictures last. Well,
You know, it was the guys that got here early.
Michael Wright had 101 fever, 101.4, something like that, at my house yesterday. So.
Oh, he was staying at your house?
No, he stopped by. He came by. So we went out for lunch. Me, him, and Lloyd went out for lunch on Monday because he was leaving here to another hotel, a Hampton Inn down in, like, it's called Juneau, but it's like by Juneau Beach. Because he wanted to do some flying, and then at 5, his plane didn't leave for 5 something p.m. So that was his plan. Last day by himself, go to the beach, whatever. But because his last day is by himself, he was like into meeting up with the two of us, going to have some lunch, and that's what we did. But he said he didn't feel good. Like, he came back, said, we was like, we're burned out from the weekend. You want to take a rest? Take a rest. And he said, yeah, I'd like that. And he went in there and he fell asleep. We fell asleep at 5 o'clock from lunchtime. And they woke up, he wasn't feeling good. So he had 101.4 or something like that. Now, I thought mine was elevated too last night. It was like 100. And, but then I noticed that next time it was 99.7, which is still elevated, low grade fever, but it was kind of going down. I was like, what's going on here? It finally struck me. I had been drinking coffee, and that affects the temperature of your mouth for a while. You know what I mean? A fresh pot of hot coffee. Because later on when I was streaming, my temperature was fine. So no, some people thought I had COVID because I was talking about my temp, but I'm fine. So's Lloyd. So, which makes me wonder, maybe Mike, just because those guys had COVID doesn't mean he does. It could be anything, Traveling on planes and like that, you pick up stuff,
Oh yeah.
Airport's the worst. Airplane is the worst.
Yeah. I agree, Rod.
What's everybody do when they step on a plane and they're getting on? Where do they grab?
The seats.
The seats. Everybody grabs the seats.
Well,
you're touching everything from it. You just caught everything of everybody that just climbed on the airplane.
I had a nice pair of leather gloves I used to like to wear. It's too fucking hot in Florida, though. You can't really do that. Pennsylvania, you can get around. You can get away with it for most of the year. Actually,
you bought those gloves back when you were in Pennsylvania.
That's exactly what I said. That's right. Well, what they were military surplus. They're the ones you would get the wool liner, and that you could just you could put on your hand separately from the glove itself, and then it was a leather upper that had a strap you tighten it here. So in the spring and the fall, if you're going to wear them, you take the liner out. That's all. But I never used them with the liners in. I actually used them. I used those gloves from riding a motorcycle, and stuff like that. They're great for riding actually. And when it got cold, because it got nipply in Pennsylvania.
Oh yes, it does.
Also,
but if I had a reason to wear them when it was hot, it was probably because I was riding or something. What's that?
I was gonna say your car parts are gonna get more expensive too, because that's where a lot of replacement parts come from is China. So fixing a car might get really bloody expensive for a while.
Too expensive?
Well, we'll see. But here's what's funny about that. A lot of the Chinese market, they're not even making there. They're like anybody else. Yes, a lot of it's made there, but some of it's being bought from Vietnam. Some shit's being bought from Malaysia. And it'll be a shifting market. Maybe Korea will pick up the slack, or Japan. I wouldn't mind seeing Japan pick it up. You know, I mean, they've been a pain in the ass to tariffs too, but I think they're way more pliable than some other countries around the world are. You know, for us, and it's a short jaunt across the Pacific Ocean to get the fucking shit over to us. So I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well,
We'll
we
see.
just put a high tariff on Vietnam too. So good luck on clothes and sports.
No, but Vietnam's
stuff.
already responded, and they're dropping tariffs. They're already there's going to be
Yeah,
a deal for Vietnam.
everybody's
the
gonna
first
have
country.
whiplash from all of
You know,
this.
in a perfect
Well,
world,
well,
there
yeah,
would
but
be
here's the thing.
there would be no tariffs anywhere.
They literally were the first country to cave, right? And Vietnam has high tariffs on our products, and we're buying cheap products from them. You know, with next to nothing. It was like 3% or something. So that's what's going on. You know, we're just getting taken advantage of. You know, and here's the thing: if they thought they were going to them, making a deal was worth them money to them. You know what I mean? It's because they got to find that balance. I mean, they can't let the tariffs fucking make their country go bankrupt, but they can't not making a deal do the same thing. You know, they gotta make a deal, and they gotta work it out to everybody's benefit, and that's it. And we got a fucking deficit to work on that's going to destroy this country. You know. But anyway, we'll just print more money. Yeah.
That's not gonna work.
$50 for an ice cream cone. That's what people say. I swear to God, people think like that. I had a liberal friend. I thought the guy was smart. He actually writes for the newspaper. He was talking about checks, you know, during and qualifying for checks for, I think it was COVID. I can't even remember what it was. It was a while ago. And I said, well, where's the money coming from? Because they just have to print more money. That's all. No problem. And he actually meant that. Like that has no impact on inflation and the value of the dollar. And the strength of our economy to the rest of the world. I mean, the implications go on and on and on. Intentionally weakening the dollar. That is an act. Some people could call that an act of treason. By the way, that was
That's
economic.
how Soros got all of his
economic
money.
policy. We needed to because the economy was heating up too much, or whatever their excuses are. You know, and then they'll change the interest rates. And you know, and play around with that crap and take credit for when things smooth out. Things are going to smooth out because 300 million people buying shit in this country. You know, and you're a buying culture. So somebody's going to pick up the slack if it's not China. Eventually, China knows it. They know that. There's just plenty of countries around the world whose people who work for next to fucking nothing that has the ability to do what they've done in the last 25 years. So, as I said, Vietnam and the tariffs. Vietnam, first ones to jump in. I see Vietnam could be our new China as far as cheap products are concerned. I already see Vietnam tags on shit all the time.
Or Malaysia.
Clothes.
Or Malaysia. Fuck, Malaysia, Microsoft chips. I had a Pentium 100 was made in Malaysia. That far back, you know.
In
so
the
they're not
Philippines.
backwards. Yeah, they're not backwards countries. They have the technology to do this shit, you know. But anyway, that's Uncle Bill's opinion, and that's enough. We'll just shut up. How about them drones?
Yeah.
DJ, come inside.
Uncle Bill, is your truck a 24 F-150?
No, it's a 27.
No, it's a 16.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Because the 24, 25s F-150s are being recalled because the oil plug into the cylinder head is misaligned.
Dude, it's a Ford. What do you expect?
Yeah, exactly.
My Ford is a wonderful piece of machinery.
The old Fords are wonderful.
I do love this truck, actually, to tell you the truth. So far, so good. I've had it. It was a year in November, so you know, if anything major was going to happen, I probably would have happened.
Ask Ken about Ford pickups.
I've had them for years, so you know. Other
he
people's
got the
other
limit
people's
apparently.
misadventures don't affect me.
Because
I've had good luck. I've had good luck with all of them.
There-
To tell you the truth, you know what? You take care of cars and you know how to fix things. I mean, it's to me. Say you got a car that had a problematic something, you know, like EGR valve or something, you know, that was
Mhm.
an annoying thing that made the car run bad. You had to go get it taken care. I mean, the first times either someone fixes it for you and tells you what it was, or you look it up on fucking or figure it out on your own, and it only costs you $25. You don't walk around thinking what a piece of crap my car is. Like someone who won't go those steps and pay a fucking dealer that charged him $250 to put in a $25 EGR valve. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
more, you know. Because, we had analysis too. And you know what? It's time to, whatever we can throw on there while you're in there. And would you like it washed? I'm going to ask you that. Wait, is it dirty? What the fuck are you telling me? But anyway, but to me, yeah, little shit does go wrong. But it's all I've had all the brands. I had them all. I had Chevy truck. I had one. The vehicle before last was a Colorado. You know, anything. If I like it, I'll buy it. I don't care if it's. But do I favor the Fords trucks? Yeah, I do. You know, and I've had them. I've had other ones. We had Dodge. We had. I've never had a Toyota pickup. I've had Toyota cars and Honda cars. I used to go through cars.
I love Honda. I love Honda cars.
Marysville, Ohio.
A friend of my brother's had his for about 250,000 miles.
Yeah, the older ones are very good actually. Lately, their repair history is splitting a little bit. To tell you the truth. But yeah, I had one. Mine had. The fuck did mine have on it when I traded? Still got $500 for it. All 4 quarter panels were rotted. The rest of it was fine. I wasn't in an accident or anything. They just rotted around the wheel wells, and it had 200. It was like 280 something. And they still gave me $500 for it. This was quite some time ago. You know, it was a pretty good. It was pretty funny. I didn't think it was going to be worth anything. You know, but that's good. So that they probably somebody threw it away more for rust or whatever than that engine not running, because that thing didn't miss a tick. You know, it read nice to beat on it too. Yeah, they're good little cars. I like them. I like all cars. I haven't had too many I hated. You guys ever have cars you hated? I mean, you just, God, I'm so sorry I bought this fucking thing.
No, not really. Some of the cars I had new were ugly. Like I had the one that looked like a shoe. It was a Gremlin.
Were you blind? Were you
Oh,
blind
the
when you
old-
bought it? Or?
No, the Gremlin. They weren't the best looking car in the world, but it was a good car.
Paul, the Gremlin still is not a great looking car.
No, but you know what? Here's the funny thing. A lot of girls like those cars. They thought they were cute. I remember that from back then. You know, of course, they looked like somebody stepped on it. You know, it's like, why like this? And, but nothing wrong with that car.
Then they came out, Bill, with the Pacer, like the round bubble, you know?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. My grandfather had a Pacer. That was a pretty useless car.
Yeah, they're not the greatest, but but they weren't unreliable.
They were good transportation. I think I bought
Yeah,
the Pacer.
I don't remember
I bought the Pacer brand new for $1,750.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
Ooh.
That's about what Dad paid. Dad bought a '66 Galaxy 500 new one. It was less than $2,000, I think.
Yeah,
Brand
you
new.
guys. You mean you guys didn't drove station wagons back in the day?
I had a couple of them, and that was back. Remember when the station wagons first came out with Bill, with the back tailgate that either opened or tilt down? Yep.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. And and you had the seats that folded up in the back, so you could so you can get in that 27th person into the back of the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tight, but it was legal. You actually had a seat to sit on, and there were seatbelts. Well, you didn't even need fucking seatbelts back then, but there were seats that you can't just throw somebody in a hatch and let them lay down back there. That's not legal. They have to be sitting in what's considered an actual seat, for it to be licensed. At least it is in Florida. I know it's illegal because
Good afternoon,
I
GDS.
had a reason to look into that. I'm sorry, what?
I was just saying good afternoon to GDS.
Safety wise, it's pretty stupid. God forbid there's an accident. That person's fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh. We're going to see Mark's impersonation again.
Well, are we doing comedy hour at Mark's house?
You push that magnifying glass up there
Hey,
like
Bill,
that. He looks-
Bill, what was the name of the car that had the door on the front? They used to open up like that, and there was like two small things in the back. And
Well,
the door on the front? What, you mean the front of the car was a
front
door?
of the car was a door.
That's a...
That was a Volkswagen.
Oh.
A buggy, right?
No,
You're
no,
not
no,
talking
no.
about the
no,
BMW
Bugs-
Isetta.
It was an electric car.
Bugs were standard. They had doors that just swung out. I had a Bug as well. Love that little piece of shit.
You know what I'm talking
No.
about, though? In the back, they had two tires like this side by side, and two tires on the front, and the front door opened up, and it had the steering wheel on the door, and you sat down in it. And it
Yeah,
closed.
no, I just saw one
That
on
was
a
a
show.
Bond Bug.
Yeah. As I
What?
said, you're not talking about the BMW Isetta, are you?
I think so. I think it's the
Isetta,
BMW.
yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
the BMW. Yep.
The Isetta was the
Come on.
bubble car.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got like a 13 horsepower fucking motor
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just saw
Or
a
the,
little thing
the
on it.
PLP 50.
You sure wouldn't want to be in one of those in a crash test, would you?
No, but I'll tell you,
No.
if the quality's there, that's a pretty cheap means of getting,
Round
you know,
town,
I mean,
yep. Round town.
economical. I guess I don't know how good is the gas mileage on it. You know, it makes you. It's a funny thing is smart car gets like 26 miles a gallon. That's not so fucking great. What's so smart about that? I think I'll spend twice as much for the same amount of horse flesh that you would, because they weren't cheap. The smart car, they're just
Well, the
small.
smart
and
car they were made by Mercedes.
right? And there
they
is
had
that.
a
This was
600cc motorbike engine in them.
yeah, I know. And so the Honda Civic had a 600 in it at one point. A friend of mine had one of those.
Because
It's noisy shit too.
Yeah, it's 700cc.
Oh,
It's a 700cc Renault
one of
engine.
those fucking things.
I remember
There it
those.
is. That's it. That's what we're talking about.
I see how the steering wheel is mounted right on the door?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it folds
it is.
out.
Would you drive one, Bill?
Why not?
They were very popular.
Yeah.
When they were out.
Sure, I would. I wouldn't take it into a smash-up derby.
Manufactured in 1953.
I think it's cool as shit. Yes, I would, and I get on a motorcycle, dude.
No, I didn't know in this car if it'd be too snug to fit in.
Oh, so what are you saying, Uncle Bill? Do you think you'd fit in that
No.
car?
I don't know the length.
I think he's referring to his
I understand. Thanks, Hans. I understand the question now. Yes, I believe I would fit in it, but you and I would not fit in it together.
No, I've never
Anyways,
I've never seen
see
one
y'all
of these
later.
cars. I've never seen one.
Andrew's talking nasty to you.
Bye, Rod.
See you, Rod.
Smith did one that was similar, except for the fact that it was like a Messerschmitt plane fuselage, and the canopy lifted up for you to get out, and it had two wheels at the front, one at the back, but driver and passengers sat behind each other.
Are there any of those out and about today?
They're around. You're looking at pictures of them. It's pretty cool. But here's the problem. These things didn't have AC or anything like that. So this isn't really. Yeah. So this isn't the best Florida car.
They weren't made for the American market.
And there's the one they call the Messerschmitt.
I
We
think
got regions in this country that have moderate climates, just like you do. But the country's big.
That's a Mr. Pete's car.
Like I said, they're being
Yeah.
they were made in Europe for the European market.
Right, but if I still lived in northeastern PA, this would be fine. You can live without AC there.
Oh, look at that one. Oh, the next one right over. that green one.
Right
It looks
here?
like the Pope.
Morgan also did a three-wheeler, which was two wheels at the front and one at the back.
Yeah, Morgan.
Well, how about the
Actually,
Reliant Rock?
Morgan still do a three-wheeler, which is supposed to be a racetrack one.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, but how about your Reliant Robin that had one wheel in the
Oh,
front
yeah.
and two in the
Yeah,
back?
the Reliant Robin.
You actually had the Reliant Regal first, and then the Robin, and then the Rialto.
There you go, Bill. 1956 Messerschmitt KR200 for sale.
Back in
$52,500.
Very reasonable. Look at the price of a pickup truck right now. Hey,
Back in the mid-60s, my dad drove a Reliant Regal.
Well, the Reliant Robin, by the way, is the FPV of automobiles because, you just give it a little turn on the steering wheel and you are doing barrel rolls.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
It'll barrel roll with the best. Every video I've ever seen of a Reliant Robin was a guy's just coming down his driveway and making a left to come out into the street and right on his side.
And it rolls over.
Sideways.
They were
funny.
They were actually very stable.
Well, I guess my
You have
big
to
fat
do-
ass in the back of that thing might make a difference. Keep it on the ground.
You have to really push it to roll it.
What do you think, Dominic?
But there is also,
As I said,
There
I
was
don't
the-
mind.
there was the
I don't
Bond.
mind small cars like that. So.
Have you seen any down in your area like that?
There was the
No, I've
Bond
never seen a
Bug,
Zeta.
Okay.
which was only a two-seater three-wheeler with the one wheel at the front.
So was that a big trend down there for small cars, Dominic? Similar cars?
Yeah, there are small ones. Yeah.
Well, Europe famously has, they put a lot of time and effort into smaller vehicles. The fuel prices are ridiculous, and the country's not that large.
Because our roads are narrower. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The older roads. Yep. Yeah.
Because like the smart car, you're sitting there, your feet are literally on the front bumper and your butt is literally on the back.
Hey,
wheels.
do you think that's bad? Where I come from, they used to have, I don't know, now they have better cars.
I mean, yeah.
They had Mercedes and Austin Minis.
The avenue I live on, there is just enough room between the two footpaths to get one car. Literally, you're almost touching the curbs with both wheels.
That's one reason why to have a small car.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know what's funny? Minis kind of intrigue me, being actually manufactured by BMW. And at least
Now they were originally British
They
Leyland.
were originally British Leyland. Well, no, they were originally Austin. And then became British Leyland.
Yeah.
It was
So
only
they said, they came up with one for the American market, a full, what they consider like a big one, right? And it's the Countryman. It's called.
That's right. We have that here as well.
Yeah, dude, that's not a full size vehicle. I still look at it. It's bigger than the other minis, and I still look at it thinking that's going to be a pain in the ass getting in and out of.
That is the Mini Cooper Countryman. My neighbor has one. And it's not a big car.
But that's their big car.
Yeah,
of course, the company is called Mini. So
I mean, the original Mini was a lot smaller than the BMW's Mini.
Oh yeah, the small one.
But
Yeah, that's what we had back home.
The Accord is bigger than that.
yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, it's towards a mid-sized car.
The Accord is not the smallest car that Honda make.
I believe
No,
that's
it's
the
not.
Honda Fit. The Honda Fit, I believe, is the smallest.
That's a cute car. I was sitting in a light with a Honda Fit sitting
No.
like right there. I'm looking at the tires on it, and it's like a kid's car. They're so. You know why they call it a Fit? Because you can probably fit that thing right up an elephant's ass or something. You could fit it anywhere. I mean, and it's true.
That's
Parking's
probably-
limited stuff. Don't worry, I've got a Fit.
It's
Right?
probably similar to the Jazz over here because my dad's got a Jazz.
Well, they're supposed to be good little cars, so why not? Good trip.
Oh, they
It's
are.
reliable transportation, and they've got, Honda's not junk. They're
Oh,
not.
they will last for a long
They're
time.
getting,
Yeah.
yeah, but their repair history is
Well,
slacking off a little bit in
I
recent
should
years.
say
But
they will.
they're still good. They're still
They
up
will.
there with the good ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they will last for a long time as long as you don't get the catalytic converter nicked, because they are
Yes.
the
There
most
you go.
common car for having the catalytic converter nicked off.
Well, I don't know. My Honda
Because-
Civic, I really liked it, but it was fun to drive at a stick, and I beat on it. It was quick. They were kind of quick,
Well,
older
the
ones. But
type-
anyway, it had a board in the fucking thing that went out. The replacement went out. So there might have been a short or some other problem somewhere, but the garage could figure it out. And I trust this garage. I knew this guy, Brent. I knew the owner. I knew the guy for years. I even worked for them for a little bit. So it wasn't like they weren't trying. They had the big computers and shit for back then, and they literally were big. It wasn't some little fucking laptop you stick down here. You remember these things they used to wheel around that they would plug into your car, and it had like a CRT screen on it, and I mean they were fucking huge. They looked like, in fact, they looked fake. They looked like something from a Star Trek original series.
Hey, oh yeah. Dominic remembers those computers.
I mean, the Honda Civic.
That was the problem.
is battered.
Those boards were a couple $100 a piece, And this guy's my friend. He did the second time. He didn't charge me. He just stuck it in for me, But that apparently was an issue for that year. So it happened to me twice within 6 months. Like, well, gotta get rid of this. And that's the only reason I traded it. Because I didn't care about the rod around the fenders. Who gives a shit? They weren't falling off or anything. They just had a line, had a line.
Bill, here's the question. What was your original first car you ever owned?
A 68 Mustang.
Ooh.
Mine was
I
a
had a
Reliant.
68 Mustang with but it had a 3-speed on the floor, but it was a 200. It was a 200 straight six.
And you sold it?
Well, yeah, after to the junkyard where it was sitting after the wreck.
My first car was actually a
it was
Reliant.
a trade-off for storage fees.
Mark, what was your first car?
A Reliant,
A Reliant.
but a four-wheeler version of the Regal.
Hey, I just
Not-
remember
Not
something.
a three-wheeler. It was a four-wheeler.
I got money for the front end parts. Front end parts were fine. I slid into that tree backwards, and there's no frame back there. It just folded in like it was made of cardboard.
Yeah.
Well, I did hit the tree at 50 miles an hour backwards, so that that added.
Well, Bill, did the police ask you what you were doing driving 50 miles an
50
hour
miles an hour
reverse?
backwards.
Well,
Backwards, yeah.
Actually,
like if you up 100 yards and it was bushes and shit, but the only goddamn tree, man, I've got radar. Yeah. A little further, there was an empty parking lot. I would have probably spun out in that. Oh yeah, no, not me. Fucking nailed that tree because my mother told me not to go out because the weather was bad. My back tires weren't good. Blah blah blah. Like an idiot, for some reason, like the day before, see these Mustangs have no weight in the rear end, so I used to carry around these big ass studded snows that I would put on in the wintertime. So I took them out of the trunk, and I have no reason why. You know what I mean? There was no plan of putting anything in the trunk unless hey, shit happens. You know what I'm saying, Luigi? But it was a bad idea to do that because it wasn't raining real hard or anything. I was driving from where we lived at that point to where I grew up to go see a girl, and I'm just going, I mean, that was my attitude at the time. I've got my own car. And she said, she advised me, she said, you get into an accident, don't you call me. When it happened on Route 17, Ramsey, New York, right up there between New York and New Jersey, like 17's in Jersey, it's in New York, it's back in Jersey again. You know what I mean? It just straddles it there. And in Ramsey, it's in New York. And I was probably going like 55. I was going to speed limit, And this section actually has stoplights. Route 17 is a pretty major highway throughout the state, but this
Oh,
in
yeah,
this
it is.
area, and it was 6 lanes, I think, but it's still a towns that had lights here and there, So I'm like, all of a sudden it's like this, motherfucker. Oh my God. Well, I don't think I said motherfucker back then. But I did see down the road that the light was red, I mean, this is all going through my mind. This couldn't have taken very long, It's like, and I'm thinking, oh shit, because they're going this way and I'm going this way. And that's what I'm noticing, that a couple of things. First of all, I noticed that the light was red and there's no traffic coming up this way. I'm thinking, yeah. Then I'm thinking, how come I don't hear my tires squealing? Well, they're still hydroplaning, So then I heard, as soon as I thought that, this is not good. And now I'm, 3/4 of the way facing backwards up in the other. Oh, I crossed over, by the way. There was there's no barrier.
Over.
Oh yeah, no, I wasn't backwards on our side. No, yeah, that's no fun. I turned around in the middle of their lanes.
Wow.
And like I said, as I was like this way, sideways, that's what I'm looking down the road and see, how fast would that have been? You know what I mean? But I remember all this distinctly, like it took 20 minutes, and that's
right?
People say that. I remember hearing the branches hit my car at the point where I'm off the road now, and thinking to myself, fuck, they're scratching my paint. Boom! In the back seat. Right, broke my seat back, broke my my seat, went right through it, hit my head on the fucking light in the middle, because the Fords back then they had the round one, like right in the middle here.
Right there in the middle.
So of course, no seatbelt, but fuck, because I'm too cool for that. But anyway, bounced my head off of here, gave me a nice knot. My steering wheel was pulled into like a U shape, because I was gripping that son of a gun. And when the stop was so sudden, that I bent it. I couldn't close my hands. I couldn't really use my hands for like 3-4 weeks after that. They were, so it was like all holding here, I mean, I could use them, but shit, it hurt, and I couldn't close them all the way. I just couldn't. But yeah, I'm in the back seat. I looked at here. Here's the fucking tree, like right next to my head. I looked at it. Oh, look at that. It completely folded in the rear trunk. The rear trunk that didn't have the 2 giant studded snows, which may have caused, been enough weight for this not to happen, because the hydroplane started back there.
Or those you'd have been eating those tires in the back of your head.
I think more than nah. They may have actually given it some rigidity back there. I don't know. I whatever it is, it all worked out for the best. I was fine, But
what did you call? Did you call your mom?
I remembered something too. I did get some money because I sold the front end parts off the car because they were perfect.
Well,
68, the logo,
didn't your
this
mother
was not
tell
by
you?
the way, as much as I liked that car, this was not a classic car at the time.
Yeah. Well, but Bill, you said that when you left, your mother said if you get in an accident, don't call her. Did you end up calling her?
Did you phone her and tell her this is me not
of
calling?
course. Somebody stopped. My wife called my mother. My mother became really religious later on in her life, and said, "Nobody knows who that is. He called it in, and that's how you got help. And they got my number. And da 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 da. And he was an angel." She thought he was an angel. This guy, this mystery guy that stopped and made sure I was okay. I don't even really remember that. I had the wind knocked out of me pretty fucking good, dude. I wasn't sure I could breathe again. I mean, it was so, because that compression going through the seat and then bamming into the rear seat, I couldn't fucking breathe. It scared the shit out of me. But hey, look at it. Look at me now, burning gas.
There you go.
In the driveway. Because it's Florida and the AC is on,
This is why all men have built-in airbags.
Say, Mark, do you remember what happened to Triumph?
Yes, I've had two Triumphs in my life. both Dolomites.
Oh, okay.
I never had a British car personally.
My brother had an MG.
Because
I had friends that had them though. I mean, I was around them. Yeah, MGs were all over the friggin' place. What was the one that looked like the original wedge? The TR7? What the hell?
That was the TR7.
TR7, right?
Yeah,
You called it the Bullet. It was called the Bullet.
They were cool. Everybody wanted one of those.
Yeah.
You know, they were very cool.
The Triumph Spitfire is a very nice car.
The Spitfire was all right. Little 1500cc sports car.
And
My
most of them were convertibles, right?
Out of all the colors for the Triumph Spitfire, my favorite has to be the dark shamrock green.
Yeah.
Well, they may not have been the highest performing of them because you said they were right. They were 1500. That's fine.
Yeah, they're all
it's
small.
Just not all about that. The style on them is just a very pretty little fucking car. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it has the look of the time period too. You know, which is attractive to me. I like that. You know, but that's a good looking car.
They did a hard top coupe version of that as well, called the GT6.
So I think the Triumph Spitfire, the last one they made, was in 80.
You know, Triumph wasn't the most reliable, to be honest with you. Most people that owned them complained about them.
Yeah, that's
third one from
they
the
were
left.
they were very cool, but they were not reliable.
Right there.
Well, some of them weren't, but some of them were. I mean,
Yeah,
the
that's a
TR7 was
chicken.
probably one of the worst cars.
That's the style. That's the style I like right there. That year, whatever year that is, very cool. Convertible, like little thing like that.
Yeah, that's
the
70s, I believe. That's
coach,
the
you're gonna get to
70s.
that some Miata anymore.
There's the one.
Mhm.
Okay, he's selling he's selling pictures of them for $17.
That's funny.
Does it say what year that one is?
1968.
A good condition one of those is going for around about £6,000 now.
Because there's a bunch
That's
here
it?
in the States. A lot of them. There's a bunch going for at least.
It'd be a lot
eight-
higher here, my friend.
There's
Let
a
me tell you
lot.
right now.
8,000 to
Yeah.
12,000 right now.
I had a Honda CRX.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were cool. They
They're
were really
nice.
cool, actually.
I like the Spitfire 1500 Mark IV.
Honda did a little two-seater sports car, the SS.
You did?
Yeah, the S200, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wasn't it just a version of their Civic?
S2000, that was it.
I didn't know that.
I think it was a cuted up version of their Civic. We called it something else here.
Oh no,
it
was a soft top.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it? That's nice. That's
S2000,
cool.
yeah.
That'd be fun. I like the Prelude. I always thought that was a good looking car.
Oh, Prelude. I had an 86.
Yeah.
Man, was that
Did
thing
you?
fast. Yes, I did, yeah.
That's one of the ones once upon a time I wished I had. You know what I mean? For a period of time, as a guy, I'd like to get one of those. And I was serious about it, but I never did.
I think they are coming out with the Prelude.
And then I was stupid. I traded for a Toyota Super Celica. Was the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, Celicas were nice.
Celica
Depending
Supra.
on which version you got.
Yeah, the Super, yeah, with the hatchback.
Celica, aren't you fancy? We call them Celicas here.
Oh,
Celicas.
Yeah.
Celicas. You're so fancy, Celica.
No, the Supra
they're a great car.
It was a different car.
Like a great car.
Yeah,
I have one of those.
The Celica and the
Celica.
Supra are two different cars.
Ed,
Yeah.
would you buy another one of those? Ed?
The Honda Prelude, yeah, if I would find one, yeah. But they're hard to find now, man. And if you do find it, they're all full of rust.
Brenda.
You'd be lucky to
Yeah.
find one. If it's been garage kept, you might be in luck.
Well, no, you could get it from Florida too. Don't forget, there are states that rust isn't an issue.
Ooh.
Yeah, the ZZ Top car.
Look at it, it's only got 30,000
California.
miles on it.
The rust is an issue because of the
Oh.
shit they put on the roads up north to keep the melt the snow, dude.
Southern California, Nevada.
Sure.
Good night,
No
Sunstar.
issues.
That's a nice looking car there.
This truck doesn't have a speck of rust on it. It's 9 years old. Of course, it's all aluminum.
I bet this Chevy has been
Yeah.
repainted.
Now the frame's not, and the supports aren't, and the cross members not, and you look on these two things, it's plain as can be. Yeah. Put the body in the bed and all that stuff.
That is a nice car.
Yeah, it's hot. Yep. Yep. Definitely. You know. Yep. Yeah.
I'm guessing that you probably didn't get the Triumph Dolomite in America.
Get the what? Trans Dolomite?
Dolomite, yeah.
The Triumph Dolomite? I don't think we had them.
Was
Do
she,
you remember, Paul?
was she good?
She was a trans.
Isn't that a sandwich? Isn't that a sandwich? I mean,
No, it was named after the mountain range, the Dolomites.
She was from the mountains. What?
they were right next to the Sodomites. You know, I've heard of them. Yeah, that's why I wouldn't want a Dolomite because it'd be nervous all the time. You know.
Very nice car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what she said last night.
I tell you, you know, the memory's a funny thing. My dad's got that 66 Galaxy 5, right, which is apparently going to be mine someday. But so fine, I think of it like, in fact, I'm going to go up this Sunday. Finally, I'm going to take the trip. I think I'll be able to stand it. Long periods of time sitting in a chair starts to hurt, you know. But it's gotten a lot better. Anyway, long story short, I'm going to go work on that. But we have these memories of these vehicles about what a smooth ride and da-da-da-da. And we forget, because this thing's in fine shape. You put a lot of money into it. But you forgot how sloppy the steering was back then, you know, and just how vague the view of the road was. And the
How bad
braking.
the rear
You have to step on the fucking brakes to make them work. You know what I mean? It's
the drums, yeah.
I mean, a lot of our cars, my Falcon didn't have power steering. You know what I mean? So, but I guess because that's what we were used to. But when you go backwards in time, cars today, a child could drive. You know, they're just very, very easy compared to that. And it was a reminder because I took it for that big boat for a ride, and that wasn't even considered full size. I think it might have been full size. I don't know, but it's big enough. And I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it. Now, there'd probably be some period of time if it's in my possession, I take it out a dozen times, it'll come back to me, you know. But
Does
I
it
like
have one of those pink chefs where you started out?
What?
Those poles?
Not that old. It's a 66.
And now
390. It's got a 390 in it.
Oh, nice.
Back in the day,
It needs every bit of it to move that thing. But yeah, it's got a 3. Yeah, but power output. That's why those motors last forever. They were so underpowered for what they could have been. You know what I'm saying? At 390 only put out like a couple hundred horses.
What?
You know.
Well, back in the day, American cars were not built to go round corners.
So how did
we go through corners? Yeah.
The transverse leaf.
Amazing. We live our entire lives without ever turning. I don't know how we do it.
Straight.
Oh, the back axle and the leaf springs on the most American muscle cars were terrible.
Well, yeah. I mean, they weren't a sport car, you know. It was, but here's the thing. But what people did was they take them and they swap all that shit out, and they put put the Brembos on all high performance, blah blah blah. The stuff that you can buy now from the factory, because now you can get those things like fucking practically track ready right from Ford.
Yeah.
But it's changed quite a bit since back then. But back then, you could spend the money at somebody's garage and do it yourself, you know. And people did, you know. It was a very, very popular track car down there.
You would have probably.
But yeah,
right?
but they weren't sprint around the corner type of car. No, it's a muscle car. You know. Oh.
Speaking
You're
of
too
corners,
scared to ride a motorcycle. You can make a lot of noise on a motorcycle. If you're too scared to do that, then you get a muscle.
well, if you want corners, go to
How much power
edge.
does your bike have, Bill?
How many? What? I'm sorry.
How much power does your bike have?
Oh, I don't know. It's not that kind of bike. You know, it's a touring. I have a Ultra Glide Classic, like Electra Glide Ultra Classic, an 07. It's got a 96 cubic inches. It's a 1600. They would consider that 1 point. And I think it's only in the 60 horsepower, like 64, 68, something like that. Because they're set up more for torque. You know, touring bikes got a back seat on it. And don't even ask what the torque is. I don't know, but the balance is more for that than it is for high end tweaking it out. Now that being said, I've actually even put a little aftermarket thingamabobber on there that fools because they're set to run pretty lean because of emission standards. You know, it's electronic ignition. I mean, it's a pleasure owning these fucking bikes, to be honest with you. I mean, I got that other one with the carburetor, and anything with carbs. It needs to be garage clip, period. You know, but you constantly clean, you constantly wrench it. You like the wrench? That's the way to go. This thing could sit in the garage for a year and a half with that electronic ignition. If the battery was still good, it would start like that and run. Love it. You know, that makes riding. You know, that's like if you're flying drones and you get a remote control with a screen built into it. You know, it's just gonna. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I think my FJ 1100's got 125 horsepower.
No, that's a lot. Yeah.
Well, it
you're
was
what now?
It was for 1985. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, you're right because they lied back then. What bike was it?
A Yamaha.
That's high horsepower for 1985, wasn't it?
Yeah, it sounds ridiculously high. I'm going to look into this. This sounds like a Mark Whiteyism.
It was
a Whiteism.
It was back in the 80s. They only made the 1100 for 2 years, then they changed it to a 1200. But it was
look me in the eye and tell me that.
It was their it was their cutting edge.
There he is. He's looking
at the time.
He's all serious about it.
No, it's
you owned it. I can't argue with him. That's all right. You owned it. I'm sure it's true. Wow, he got upset. He's his face right up the camera.
So you would buy another if you could, Mark?
Hmm?
You would buy another one?
I've still got it.
Oh.
Kilroy was here. You're funny. Oh.
So it still runs well, huh? Mark?
No, it's in pieces in the garage.
Oh.
that sounds like a Yamaha to me.
No, it's in pieces, so I don't ride it.
You constantly got to take it apart and fix it. This is going to have to come apart again.
Put it together like a puzzle.
I'm going to put
I took the fairing, the seat, and the tank off so that I didn't ride it.
If you didn't want to ride it and it was together, you could have sold it for a penny.
It's not that I didn't want to ride it, Andrew. It's that they won't let me ride it anymore.
Oh.
Because of my eyes.
So who took it up? Who took the fairing off and did all that?
Me.
Mark,
so that
you know
you
what I
couldn't
got to
ride
say
it?
to that?
Yeah.
Screw them. Just jump in a
You
bike.
went through that because you can't trust yourself not to ride it?
Yes.
Wow. You know, you should get together and work out your trust issue. You know? Because I figure if they say my eyesight's not good enough to drive, I'm probably not going to drive after that, no matter how much I love the bike. You know?
Yeah, no,
I might get a go-kart and go in my backyard with it, smash into things, but that's okay.
I held on to it in the hope that my eyesight would improve again, but then I got resigned to the fact that it wouldn't.
Mark, you know what I got to say to that, buddy? Your agenda for tomorrow is put the bike together. The next day, go for a ride. Enjoy.
No, it needs a bit of rebuilding at the moment.
What if you go out to the garage and just sit on it?
It's been in the garage for 24 years now.
Oh shit! It needs a big tune-up.
So the carbs.
Yeah, I think tires first would be a thing, by the way.
Tires, the carbs will need new diaphragms, the calipers will need stripping down and rebuilding.
Just
need a
make-
new battery.
Just make sure there's no mice in the garage.
Was this motorcycle in a street fight or something? All your seals dried up, I guess. Huh? You're leaking all over the place, man.
That's.
If people make fun of fucking Harleys. It's an 07. That's no spring chicken.
Oh, but
and there's
that's
never
it,
anything
Mark?
wrong.
That's it.
Oh,
Holy
Mark.
shit! I'll take
That's
it back,
it.
Mark. I'm not making fun no more.
If I'm not mistaken, that's a race bike.
It was at the time.
Yeah, right now it's a Ford decoration.
Now it's classed as a sports tourer.
That's a cool bike.
Yeah, all bikes are cool. By the way, just to
they
throw
are.
that out there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is. It's only got two wheels. It's cool.
Yep.
Unless it's a scooter.
Hey, there's some pretty cool scooters, and we had the Berkman,
there are now.
the Yamaha
Yeah.
Berkman, because it's 600, and it moved. You could take it on highways, you know.
Never mind. They're making those.
If
They're
people aren't that
electric
cool,
bikes.
huh?
They're making electric bikes that look really good, man.
Bergman's not Yamaha.
Scooters are huge in
What do you mean?
Italy.
It's no
Yeah.
Suzuki Bergman.
It's Suzuki. Yamaha did
Right, Suzuki. Okay, I'm getting old. Shut up.
Suzuki.
I never
Yamaha.
had one, but I wanted to. They have a 400 and a 600.
Yeah.
BMW had what they call the maxi scooters. And to tell you what, if people don't feel coordinated enough to shift with their foot and like that, you know, find neutral in between first and second, and whatever, you know, whatever they're trying to do that, and they fall over because their leg's not there to catch them. It doesn't take a shit ton of skill to ride a bike, ride a motorcycle, but it takes enough to not hurt yourself.
You mean you can't change
Or
gears
somebody
without,
else.
You can't
Huh?
change gears without using the pedal? With just the
Your
clutch?
foot. How do you change the gear with just the clutch?
You
It's
can't
still
do
going to
that?
be shifted.
You
No.
can change gears on a motorbike without using the clutch if you.
Without using the clutch, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest thing to do, but you can do it
If you get your revs right.
When you
Yes.
drive trucks, they're not synchronized. So, go ahead. I mean, you get it to the exact right RPM for the speed that your transmission moving. There's going to be a little clunk usually. It's great when you. I actually was. Here's a little side story. I was driving truck, and I wasn't paying attention, and I shifted, and it was a long downward slope, and it was going through somewhere in Michigan. It was a pretty crowded fucking highway too. So I was actually moving at like 65, 70 miles an hour with a fully loaded 80-foot, trailer, or 80-foot rig, with the trailer. 80 ton. I'm sorry, not 80 foot, 80 ton. 80,000 pounds. 80,000 pounds. Yeah, full size truck. 30-foot sport truck. But I was actually moving at that rate of speed through traffic, and the transmission wasn't engaged. And that's frightening. Yeah, what I mean, because you can get it, And we did partners, and I was still learning. That's the thing, And the person who was teaching me had developed a trust to the way I drive because I was doing so well. So I didn't want to wake her the fuck up because she was like a nasty truck driver from the beginning of time of women truck drivers. She was. She used to drive truck when they didn't have fucking power steering. Swear to God. So she was a little on the scary side. She's a big redhead with fucking psoriasis and flakes all over the fucking place. And that is shit with her. She had this tattoo. So if she ever watches this, I'd be afraid she'd come kill me. But she had this tattoo of Yosemite Sam flying on a purple Pegasus. I guess she had that and she made that up and had somebody do that, and she showed it to everybody. You know, it's like out of a bad movie. You know, so I didn't want to wake her up. The long story short, I got in gear. No, I actually did do it, but that was a real butt clenching moment. You know, anytime you're driving a truck and you make that mistake, because you don't want to shift down when you're going downhill with a truck. It's not synchronized. So what you guys are talking about is kind of the same thing, because you got to get the speeds matched up so that the gears will actually mesh when you put them in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And even still, it's not perfect. You know,
In fact, back in the day, most cars didn't have synchro mesh on first gear.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was the England thing. Because we did. Yeah. Mine was the Mustang was that 3-speed was. That was a 68. So that was a bit ago. That was a minute ago. You know.
Are you sure you're
God, I
not a
wish
mechanic, Mark?
My second Mustang was a 67 fire engine red with the 289. That was my second car.
That's a nice car.
I was taught by my dad to strip a car down, nothing, and rebuild it.
Somebody wrecked that one for me, by the way. Somebody else wrecked it for me.
Mark, was your dad a master mechanic?
No. My dad was a joiner.
Oh.
Really? Because I'm a quitter.
I'm a quitter.
We're related. We're necessary for the very definition of the other.
Yeah.
You know, that's why you got to be fair to people that are evil. Because without evil, how do you know what's good? You need a reference point.
Mm-hmm.
They say everybody serves a purpose.
That's true.
Yeah. We had some nice. It was breezy that day, but at least the weather was nice. It was very warm, but because of the breeze, it was really comfortable. You know, I was hoping everybody had a good time. Anyway, we flew. You know, sometimes it was a struggle. We had weird effects on Sunday at the beach by the ocean at Dalman Park, where the satellites were like. We don't know if there was increased sunspot activity or something going on, but like my drone at first, for the longest time, it said 0. You know, wide open spaces here near you know, and that's the thing about living in Florida. You're much closer to the equator to this. I mean, you really should be good satellite.
It's weird
here.
Yeah,
you know, it's all you know, the Earth is oblong. It's actually longer, and anyway, we're closer. That's why the sun is so much more dangerous down here. You know.
But it's slightly
but anyway,
north to south.
So it's weird. And then all of a sudden, you know, like I went up to fucking 24, which is so much more than you need, you know. And it didn't say to fly at first. It was like and then it dropped out. Then it came back. So it was being really weird. But the numbers stayed well above what you need to fly, you know, at that point. So then it's a good fly. So I fly. But and it did drift. The wind was pretty good. It did drift, but it flew okay. But you know, it only drifted a little. It wasn't bad, and flew over to the ocean. And I never had a loss of control. It was always perfectly, you know, I always did what it's supposed to do. But all of a sudden, the camera transmission was jumpy, like choppy, like I'd lose it, get it, lose it, get it, lose it, get it, you know. And what was going on? It's not a thing that I normally had to worry about.
What were you flying, Bill?
Mini 2. I've had that Mini 2 since the first meetup. I don't have problems like that.
I know you've had the Mini 2 a long time.
Well, it did the same thing. I did a repeat performance where it was windy and people weren't flying so much. So I said, okay. And I did like I did in the first meetup. I put the Mini 2 up in the wind and flew it around. I said, well, look, and more people pulled their drones out. You know, that thing can handle it. It's Air 3S can handle. Air 3S can handle. Air 3S is pretty badass. as
Air
far as
3
wind
flies.
resistance is concerned. They're even better than Mavic 3, apparently. I have an Air 3S coming to me tomorrow, by the way. I'm very
Oh, it's
excited.
not arrived yet.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
be
no, I
interested
bought.
to hear about that.
Yeah, I was just going to
Yeah,
ask.
Bought it, Bill?
Got
I
long.
bought it from Lon. I bought it from Lon.
Okay.
And Lon buys these drones and barely uses them. So this thing, I'm sure, is pretty nifty. Yeah, he barely uses them. Oh, yep, it flies, and it's put away. But yeah, no, you saw it's a case. It's fly more, some filters, a couple other things.
Hello?
You know, all the light. You know, huh?
Yeah.
No, it's just
Hold on.
Andrew.
He's got a phone call.
Oh, okay. That's maybe my connection was bad. So he gave me a really good price, you know, and he was going to bring it, but he didn't come. You know, I sold my Air 2S to Lloyd.
Yep.
And he got a great deal because those batteries I spent $345 plus tax for brand new batteries from DJI. I got them from DJI. I wasn't messing around with possible fakes and shit on Amazon, you know, because the original ones lasted a pretty long friggin' time. So
I tell you what, Bill, I love my Air 2S.
yeah, no, it's a great drone. And it's a great drone for him because it's very easy to fly. He doesn't fly that much really, and he loves it. And he ended up deciding to buy the RC controller that I just bought when I just spent $300. You know, the original one with the screen in it.
Yep.
And because, well, now that I'm going to an Air 3S anyway, it doesn't matter. I was going to hold it back because I was going to look for a Mavic 3 Classic. Is what I was going to look for, you know.
Mm.
But he gave me such a great deal, and they're really great drones. So, you know, it's actually, they only came out last October, so they're pretty late. They're pretty late model, you know. So.
Hey, Uncle Bill, on your two Mini S, those motor covers that you have, do they make it go over 249?
No, they don't. No, I've got a pretty accurate scale. No, they don't. The drone's not 249 to begin with. It's like
Yeah, it's
238.
242.
Yeah, it's about
But
240.
some people are 242.
That's 7
Some are
grams
lighter.
you can play with.
Yeah, I don't know why. Some people's were lighter than others, but I was able to put them on with no problem, still under. And I had that little Ulanzi light, you know, for flying at night. That put me like right at 250, which technically isn't really. It should be under 250, like 249.9 or whatever. But yeah, so I was able to do that with those caps on there. You know, I heard that you know, they help keep the motors clean. That's the story.
Yeah, that's what I want to get for my Mini 3.
Yeah. No, they've never given me any problem or anything. You know, they've been great. I put them on when I bought the drone, like December 20. So,
Yeah, but it will take your Mini 3 Pro over 250 because that is 249.
Is it?
Yeah.
You got a scale? Check it out. Nobody's going to weigh your drone, by the way. Hey, you care?
Yeah, they know it's 251 or 252.
The police will be right there with their drug scale on the hood of their hood of their cruiser. Yeah.
No, I just seen you fly it off your backyard there one day, and I was like, "Oh, shit, those look pretty cool."
If they don't know anything, be slick and pull the fucking battery out of its ass before you hand it to them. Oh, the thing only weighs 180
Yeah.
Actually, with the lack of knowledge in most police departments, you could probably convince the guy that weight, stated weight, is the weight of the drone, not the battery or accessories, and they wouldn't know any difference.
Yeah.
You know. Okay. Who cares? Take your toy and go home. You know, what the cops are on here are like. I even asked the one cop, did I mention this story to you guys already? I think I told somebody else about it. But the park where we flew, a bunch of us, a couple times, you know, it just little side parts. Nice. Riverwalk, it's called, but a nice long boardwalk that the city put in all along the friggin' north branch of the St. Lucie River. And there's a wildlife sanctuary park all along it, like right here. And you could just walk down there, fly the drone off of that over the water. It's very nice. Anyway, I asked the cop just to be sure. I mean, I'm causing my own problems by doing this, but because there was one just sitting in the parking lot. There usually isn't, but once in a while. And I think they do it at night. Is it okay? He goes, I don't know. I guess so. Be my guest. That was his whole attitude. Like, what the fuck do I care? You take pictures of trees and water. You know what I mean? Fly around with your toy. Go play with your thing. That's the way people should be. You know what I'm saying? You flew 200 feet over my house. You were checking out my wife. Yeah. Those gazongas, boy, you could see them from satellites. Google picks them up.
Yeah. The answer to that, why?
I had a guy pull over just one time. I only got parent once. And he wanted to know why I was over his house. And his house is like the last street before a pretty thick tree line green area. And then the school. There's actually a school down there, an elementary school, good size one. So I was basically above that. Had nothing to do with him. Because from there, at the ridiculously high height I was at, by the way, Pancho, so what the fuck do you think I'm looking at? Your roof pattern? Anyway, I was looking at I know I had it high because I was actually looking at the Intercoastal Waterway. That's what I was filming. That's what I was taping. I wasn't looking down there. But anyway, actually, I guess watched the drone, followed it, and saw me standing in the driveway. He never got out of his car. I like people act like they're tough. Never got park your car, walk up the driveway. Chicken shit. So anyway, I laughed at him. I showed him, look, I'm not even looking. What do I want to look at your house for? That's what okay. And he left, But that's it. I've never had any problems. No real problems, We did have a park attendant tell us we had to stop flying our drones in Jupiter once, or North Palm. No, it's Jupiter Lighthouse. Yeah. There's actually a park there, public park, at the Jupiter Lighthouse, and it's right on the water. And there's the 1800 something red, well preserved lighthouse that everybody likes to fly. And we were flying. We were there for a while. Flew the river, flew the bridge. It's like they worked up the nerve to come over and talk to us. It was me, Maddie, and TJ. And you can't fly. So we had no idea. There's a sign. There's a sign. They said, well, no problem, but I can't, you have to stop flying. I said, okay. So we said we had no idea. Tell us where the sign is. He said, by the bathrooms. I mean, by the fucking bathrooms. I didn't go to the bathroom. So when you come in the fucking, this sign, no shit. You come in the place, right? It's a pretty long drive, driveway, not drive, but driveway, and there's greenery on the left and the right. There's maybe a soccer field over there. It's a pretty big park. And then you come in, and here's a group of bathrooms nested together, and you're still not there yet because you go past the bathrooms from the drive-in to it's like you would drive to go to the bathroom. You could walk there, but you know what I'm saying. It's still driveway before you even get to there's like a little museum there and gift shop and the entrance to the walking trails and shit. So anyway, so you would just drive right by this. There's the sign by the bathrooms, and it's the size of parking. No parking from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Monday. Those signs? They're only this friggin' big. And it's meant for one parking spot. Well, that's the sign they had. I think it was blue with white lettering on it, which made it even less noticeable. But anyway, we saw it. They said you're not allowed to fly. You not allowed to fly the park. And I didn't get into this legally. Fuck that. I'm going somewhere else. There's plenty of places to fly. And actually all we did was we went down the highway, went over the overpass, we came back to right on the other side of the river from, so we were almost as close to from where we were sitting anyway, to the lighthouse itself. Now we just had to cross the river first to get to the lighthouse, you know, and take all the shots we wanted, which is funny, you know. But we did it across the way. There's a shopping center, and the one that's pretty big, and the one of it ends in this one area. I mean, it kind of creates a parking area driveway between the two buildings, you know, because the second set of buildings starts over here, so it's like an alleyway, and it's right across from the thing, and there's nobody there. Nobody parks there. Actually, the restaurant here had a dock right there where people could pull up with boats and eat there. You know, it's pretty nice. But so that's all we did. We just went across the street. We took all the shots we want. You know, what are they going to do? Chase us out of there? But with no problems. But that's the only time I ran into a problem like that. Florida's been pretty easy. That's Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County. Some Palm Beach County towns are persnickety. St. Lucie County, I have never heard a thing. You know, never. There is one of those RC clubs here, the Fields, but like I could join something like that if I want. It's actually a couple of them. One of them's kind of big. Like I said, that's what happens in Florida. A lot of people fucking retire down here and they don't know what to do with their money. You know, start building toys, you know. Paul Murray, screen sharing. What you got?
Oh,
No.
you getting snow right now? Oh,
Yeah.
oh wow.
That's your street then, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's the north side of my house. That's where my tenants park.
What's the temperature there?
30 degrees.
Oh shit! It was like 87 here
Oh wow.
yesterday.
Look at the snow coming now.
You know, in a ways, I miss this. I grew up in this shit. You know, I'm not grew up. Jersey wasn't that bad. Seemed like the winters got progressively worse, and then after a certain point, they just started lessening. It was weird, you know. Like '94, man, it fucking snowed every weekend for like 16 weeks. I'm exaggerating, maybe. It might have been 13 weeks in a row, like every Saturday. Let's kill as many as the drunks as we possibly can. God, that was God smiting drunk drivers. Every Saturday night, it snowed from 6 to 12 inches. And these weren't just little bits of snowfall. We had so much fucking snowfall in '94. It was unbelievable. And I don't know why. Nobody knows why. It just happened. Just the right combinations of things. You know what I mean? Right amount of moisture, right amount of rainfall, whatever it was all hitting on all cylinders. That's back when I had the Newfoundland guy. That Newfoundland dog loved that shit. You know, 2-3 feet of snow in your front yard, bouncing around in that thing, that stuff. You know, snow drifts 6 feet high. It was crazy. Because, you know, the shit from last week's still there, and it's just the very next weekend, here comes more. Here comes more.
As you can see,
I see you laughing. Who's somebody talking about me?
as you can see here, this is down by the water. Look at the snow.
Oh, shit's coming down hard.
Wow, no shit. You know, I kind of miss that. You know, I think I'd like to live in that for a week.
You know, Bill, you can always move to Canada, eh?
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, no. I mean, you know, I've been in states that's more north than a lot of people live in Canada. You know, and some of the worst weather. Man, I've been through ice storms in a tractor trailer. Matter of fact, instead of stopping, the big idea was if we keep going, we're going to drive out of this.
What's the coldest?
In a fucking ice storm, driving south from Michigan, huh?
What's the coldest temperature you ever been in?
Oh, I'm sure you got me beat there. Don't even kid. I have no idea. I have no idea. I didn't live in frigid areas. I lived in areas with a lot of snow. I mean, below zero.
Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah. But I don't know what. I can't tell you. I don't know. It's an interesting thing to figure out. I could, just kind of look at where I lived for periods of my life. I stayed in areas for long periods.
That's the statue of Thomas Edison.
That information's available. I'm gonna check that out.
This is where Thomas Edison grew up in Port Huron.
Yeah.
Cool.
I remember days you couldn't breathe in through your nose because your nostrils would freeze together.
Yeah, I've seen that.
That's oh, and you know what? It's funny. I forgot this. You know what I used to do? I did it for like a season and a half, and I fucked it. But I was an official, a card carrying snowmaker. So what I would do is tromp around in gigantic boots and overcoats and stuff, and it had to be less than 15 degrees out to make snow. But for the best powder, you wanted it below zero, you know, and it was quite often below zero on that mountain, you know, in Pennsylvania. I mean, there's small mountains, but there's still mountains, man. And it was pretty fucking windy and pretty fucking cold. But I wasn't cold. I mean, I tell you, some of you get the right winter wear. I walk around in this incredibly frigid, carrying hoses around, and I mean that was the job. You actually, you know, and most of it was just inspecting to make sure there's no leaks. You know, you just travel up and down and this and that. But you just turn it on. But people had to do it to make the snow, you know, for this because it's the Montage. Montage was the name of the ski resort in Pennsylvania.
Was that with the snow cannons?
Yeah, they were giant guns. Yeah, they were just big, you know. Yeah.
Well, big fans, aren't they, really?
Yeah.
Just gotta take a phone call.
Yeah. It wasn't a hard job, but you did it overnight, you know. It was for extra money. It was, you know, you can only do that for so long, not have sleep at all.
That's it. But always.
Yeah. I'll trade my health for a while to catch my family up on the bills. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's because that's what you're doing. You're just trading your longevity for some extra money.
If you went on a skiing holiday, every night you could hear the snow cannons and the peace bashers going up and down the mountain.
Yeah. I mean, it was okay. You know, but at first I liked it. You know, being out on the mountain at night, you know, with the view of the valley and the city, like it's fucking pretty up there. You know, I wasn't cold. Like I said, I had the right gloves. I had the right winter coat, Parker freaking thing. I looked like Nanook in the north. Yeah, I know. I get so warm, and this is like in sub-zero weather. Sometimes I'd actually open the coat up, you know, because you don't want to sweat either, really, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, thing was awesome. Yeah, it was warm. You know, it's worth a little extra money if you're not going to die. You know, I don't know how fast those, you know. Yeah, you know what? It wasn't a high-paying job. It's not like I was surrounded by EMTs and shit, you know. Hey, Bill went down in the snow. You think he fell? I don't know. You want to check it out? All right. Oh, there he is. I'm only kidding. They were high on safety. They actually put you through courses and shit on that. I'm sure it was required. It was no big deal though. You were just like a hose monkey, sending the water, you know, to the different blowers. And there was something they mixed in with the water that made it crystallize into proper powder. So.
Okay, I think I'm going to call it, guys.
Good idea. I was just about to go myself. So.
Yep. Bill, thanks for being here. Mark, Ed.
Okay, good night, everybody.
We'll see you in the morning.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye for now.